Yeah.
Somebody
Welcome.
Jack.
To the Kung Fu podcast.
What up, everybody?
Yeah, hey everybody, you're watching the Nerdgasm podcast. I don't get Superman. For me, Superman's worse. And I'm not talking about in this movie or in the...
Is Appa the Chewie of the Avatar group?
Yes, he is!
Okay, I'll behave. I'll behave. Okay.
And boom, then we have the movie.
And
But-
on that note, that's a nice way to segue to jump into the main issue of the topic, because if there's one thing that keeps on copying and pasting the same motion of family member dies, I need to do something, is all Kung Fu movies.
Not all of them, but I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what you're
because-
saying, yeah.
That's true. How many training arcs do we need? Goodness gracious.
I love training arcs, though. I love
Guys,
that
before we get into it, I have a friend, Sam, who is my co-host on the Sam and Ken podcast. We were watching Drunken Master sometime, I think like a few years ago, right? And we asked ourselves one question. What happens to, okay, like, like with villains, like you have your Lex Luthor on a day-to-day basis, when he's not crazy, thinking, obsessing over Superman, he's running a business. Right? You have a villain who is running a dojo. I'm just giving you an example. He's running his own dojo. He's doing... Many of the main characters in Kung Fu movies, what the hell do they do on a daily basis apart from training and kicking? Okay, let's say you kick the villain's ass after the end of that movie. What are you going to do every day of your life? Because the guy's dead now. What do you do?
You train.
Because you don't have a job.
Become Grandmaster.
Yeah.
Then the thing about the Kung Fu movies, you don't think about it. The plot's over.
Yeah, it's cool.
Speaking of Drunken Master, because that's one
You
of my
killed the man who
picks.
killed your grandfather, and that's the end of the story.
He walks
The
off
end.
into the distance and he keeps doing
And
it.
he's broke. He's broke because when he's trying to make money, he has to go to the market and do some Kung Fu
basically
movies to get some money, some coins thrown at him. Like, that's how you
wait.
make money.
No, Jet Li's
it-
different.
it-
Jet
it-
Li
it
usually
depends.
dies. Jet Li usually dies at the end of his. I'm trying to think which movies he usually dies. Like I'm thinking most of them he KOs.
No ways.
And I think end of Unleashed he died.
Romeo
End
must
of
die, he didn't. And
Romeo
there's a
must.
lot-
Oh, Romeo
there's a
must
lot-
die. He didn't. He just
No,
gets
no,
to
there's
the
a
end.
lot where he doesn't
Yeah.
know. There's a lot where he doesn't know.
and Cradle to the Grave also. So
No.
Is that a kung fu movie?
Wait.
he's doing kung fu. He's whooping.
No, Jet Li survives in many of his movies.
He's
Yeah.
whooping 20 people one v
I think they're
20.
referring to Bruce
I don't know.
Lee.
Also, Jet Li's not the main character of that movie. It's very much DMX.
It's DMX, yeah.
I watched it for Jet Li.
I think
Yeah.
Jet Li died in Lethal Weapon 4, and he also died in what was that other one where he was saying that it was going to be his last martial arts show.
Oh,
Angel
Legend.
One.
Oh, actually,
Legend.
I think it's
Is it
called
Legend?
yeah. I forgot what it's. I think it's got two titles. There's one in China and there's one that we had.
Yes.
I think it's called Legend for us.
Something like that.
The one where he becomes the greatest master, no? And then he
Yes,
fights
and
the
then
Americans.
he was poisoned, and then
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
And then he
That
dies
was-
in
that
the
was-
one. He technically dies in the one. And
He doesn't die in the
No,
war.
it doesn't die in the one.
the evil version of him dies in the one. Doesn't he?
No, he's
gets
still
into
fighting
hell.
everybody.
No,
yeah,
he's
you know,
hell,
he's
but
fucking hell. He's beating everybody up though in
That's
hell.
a metaphorical sense.
You're all my bitch.
He dies in Hero.
will be my name is Rulo, and
He dies in Hero. Give me that at least. He dies in Hero. There's all those arrows hit him.
He gets porcupined in Hero.
Yeah.
But just talking about Drunken Master, two things. Where did this meme come where people say that Jackie Chan says he doesn't want trouble? Because in Drunken Master, that guy wants all the trouble.
He wants
He's
all
the
the
most.
smoke.
He's the
Why
most.
not? No. Let me put it this way. I don't want no trouble comes when he starts. When you see Jackie Chan's later movies, and he's like catering more to
American
Yeah.
type of
Representing
movies. Hollywood
like
movies.
I forgot that other one where he loses his memory and he ends up in South
Who am
Africa.
I? Where am
Yeah, who
I?
am I?
When you guys think of the greatest martial arts actor or star, who comes to mind for you?
Bruce Lee.
Acting wise, like acting chops.
I'm not being specific. Just when someone says, "Yo, he's the Sterling of Chinese movies," who's the one that pops in your head?
For me, it's a tie between Jet Li and Jackie Chan. I have to be honest.
I'm a
It's a
Jet
tie
Li.
between those two guys.
Look. In this house, I grew up on Jackie Chan. Look, I love Jet Li.
Yeah,
What and to show how much I love Jet Li, my favorite kung fu movie of all time is a Jet Li movie.
absolutely.
But
Yeah, me too.
when it comes,
But
Me
Jackie,
too.
if I want to get entertained with my dad and we're gonna sit there and laugh at old movies, I'm not gonna take out a Jet Li movie. I'm gonna take a Jackie Chan movie because
That's why I said it's
that's
a
the
tie
yeah,
for me. That's why I said it's
that's
a
the
tie for me
movie.
because those two complement each other.
He's the actor that got me into the Japanese into the kung fu movies in the first place. Me and my dad.
I don't know. Bruce Lee for me,
Jackie Chan.
like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr Extrodin.
Jackie Chan inspired Akira Toriyama to do Dragon Ball, guys. That should
No,
tell you
Master
all
Jackie
that you
Chan.
need to know.
look. The thing is, this is why it's been a debate because none of us are wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
Bruce
Yeah.
Lee is probably the most iconic. I think
yeah.
he's more recognizable than anyone we've mentioned.
No,
I
I
Listen,
think
think
Jackie Chan is up there. I think Jackie Chan is up
he's
there in terms of
No,
he's
I
the
think if I
he's
had a
the
shirt of Bruce Lee or if I had a shirt of Jackie Chan, I think more people would recognize Bruce Lee than Jackie
yes.
Chan on my
He's
shirt.
the Easy of martial arts movies, if that makes sense.
I
Or the
call
Tupac.
Yeah, he's the Tupac.
I call
There's
Bruce
more
Lee like
merch
the
of Bruce Lee than anyone.
Bruce Lee for me is like the original kung fu master, like the OG, the one who
Yes.
started it
Hence
all.
yes.
And
Yes.
like that's why I always had that argument that Chuck Norris is a Saiyan because he fought against Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee beat him and he got a Zenkai boost and he never lost again.
he ripped
After
his
that,
chest hair off. I
yeah,
never seen that in a move in a fighting movie. I never seen somebody attack someone's chest hair. Nah, I think the thing is for me with Bruce Lee, it's also just the sound effects. It's just like
Yeah.
that, like he was so iconic. He became the racist stereotype for when you talk about Asian people.
You know
Like,
what?
and
I think
and
what makes Bruce Lee so good né, when it comes to his fight choreography, né? And it's something that I don't think I've never seen any other martial artist actor do it ever to this day. Bruce Lee was a good dancer. I think he was a
Yeah.
winner. He won some
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So even when in his fighting, né, even when he gets beat up, it's as if it's a dance. So even his emotions, like it's like pa pa pa, it's like pa 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 pi, pa, and nobody else has ever done that.
and
So that's the thing that makes him outstanding as a fighter.
and of course, I have to say it. We would without Bruce Lee, we would not have Mortal Kombat because what's Mortal Kombat without Liu Kang?
Mm.
Or Tekken, even Tekken.
Yeah, Lee, basically.
Street
Yeah,
Fighter, Fei
Long.
Long, I miss that guy. But anyway.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying. I think for me, it's just I liked those movies. I liked, and also it was something that was interesting is that Bruce Lee wasn't fancy with his movements. He could do the fancy stuff, like
Yes.
but like he always said that he wanted his choreography to feel a little bit more raw. So
Yeah.
like there'd be times where he's a kung fu master, but he'll bite somebody, and it's just like you don't think of a kung fu master biting somebody, but he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, original kung fu, they did whatever it took to win.
There's
You
a
know?
movie, né? There's a movie. The movie. Okay, Fist of Legend by Jet Li is basically a retelling of the movie that I'm referring to by Bruce Lee, where even that video is trending on social media. Bruce Lee is in a dojo and is surrounded by a lot of like students, right? He only kicks these people. He does two things. He kicks everybody. Everybody's just looking at him, and he kicks them. And then there's a part where you take the nunchucks, and then he just goes down, and then he basically sweeps everybody with the nunchucks. And when you look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, this is so primitive. Like this makes no sense. But I'm sure at the time,
Yeah, that's another thing we need to learn about. We need to appreciate about kung fu movies is that as much as we love them, some of them age poorly.
yeah.
I mean, even the two that I have on my list, because
And
I was watching them today, and I was just like, yo, hey, these people could not.
yeah, no.
Yo,
Yeah.
In my list, I forgot to give you my list. I forgot, and I do apologize for that. But one of my top five must have been Secret Rivals, because that's where the trend of the gray-haired, the white-haired evil supervillain came from. Because there was Silver Fox and there was Gold Fox, and that movie, for a movie that came out in the 1970s, perfect action sequences. Now, when you look back, yeah.
Yeah.
If I may ask, how are we doing this? Is someone going to give us the entire list and we go through it, or are we going to go like five? We all mention our five, four, or four, three. How's that going to be?
That's a good question.
I personally I think that we all mention our five movies, and then we go through it quick, and then we go four,
Yeah.
four, and then we go through it quick.
All right.
I think that'll be the like. So number five for me, I guess, is what did I put on my list again? Why am I forgetting? Because I watched it. No.
Where's my phone?
Uh,
I wrote
uh,
it. That's the reason I thought we should write it down, because we will forget.
yeah. I got it. I got it somewhere here. Because I don't want to like Drunken Master maybe, but I don't want to put it at five. I think I think it deserves a better spot than
Well,
five, but we'll see.
that would be absolute heresy, but where it would be understandable as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got Rumble in the Bronx. I got Ip Man. I got Enter the Dragon. I got Drunken
Mhm.
Master. Wheels on Meals. I guess it will have to be Wheels on Meals is number five. Wheels on Meals is number five. Yeah.
Sammo Hung, Ewan Bill, and Jackie Chan.
Yeah, bro.
One of the best movies of all time, in my opinion.
Again, the acting is.
Well, that's also
But not Ewan Bill. Ewan Bill's
No.
performance is
Him and Jackie did good in that movie.
yeah.
Him and Jackie did great, and Samo. Him, Jackie, and Samo, they did really great. Everyone else did not come to play. Oof.
But the villain in that movie, bro, the guy with the kicks, the guy who smokes, that's him, right? Wait, that's the movie. Is that Wilson Mills?
No. That's not Wheels on Meals. That's somebody else. That's Drunken Master. You're thinking of Drunken Master.
No. That's
Okay, no. Then you're thinking of
movie.
something else.
The movie I'm referring to, the villain is a businessman who smokes. He'll kick your ass, sit down, and continue smoking.
No, it's not. It's not thinking Wheels on Meals. Because in Wheels on Meals, remember the whole plot hinges on this chick who's a pickpocket or whatever. She's the secret daughter of this count, and she runs into these two guys. She makes them protect her, even though, like in the story, I was watching it and I was just like, "Why are you guys so invested in this woman?" Because I would have left her the minute she stole my wallet. The minute she took my wallet, we're done. No, you figure yourself out.
So who were the two? Was it Sammo Hung and Jackie, or was it Yuen Bio and Jackie?
No, Ewan Bill and Jackie, and then Sammo Hung comes in later. I hope I'm saying that guy's name right.
Yeah.
Sorry to anybody
You are.
butchering it. But then, Sammo Hung comes in later because he's a detective or he's a private eye or whatever, and then he gets hired to find this girl too. So eventually you get to the end of the movie and the three of them have to team up to go fight and beat up everybody in the castle or whatever. And like one thing that I love about Jackie Chan movies in a sense is Jackie is not afraid to make himself struggle. He's never afraid to make himself beat up.
I think that's what made it more relatable in this house, especially with me and my dad, is that Jackie struggles. Jackie takes L's. Jackie takes an ass whipping like no other. And it came from a time where just after, Bruce Lee.
No, Bruce Lee took L's.
He did took L's, but he also was also quite the warrior. Shame.
Yeah.
For him to take an L, you need to have to been super strong.
Yes.
Jackie Chan is fighting everyone, whether you're a goon or you're the final boss. If you have a lucky shot, he's going to land.
Yeah.
And also with Jackie Chan, he didn't just only rely on his fists and his feet.
Yes.
Sometimes he would throw tables, desks.
No, that's one of the best things.
books.
And like Wheels on Meals has like the best finishing to any fight that I've seen in a martial arts movie.
I think that he coined the term action comedy, and
Yeah.
that's why he excels.
No, but like who was the other guy? You just mentioned it. The other guy in the movie that Jackie's training with in the beginning of the movie when they're doing the sit-ups and all of that stuff. You just mentioned his name. Oh, Yun View, yeah. He like that fight sequence stays in my mind till this day because it's one of the best finishes in any martial arts movie. Because me and my brother, we laughed for like 5 minutes because we couldn't believe it. He jumps up like he's gonna do this epic move, and all he does is he grabs hot tea and throws it in the guy's face, and then hits him with a.
You know what? I think if we were to touch on UNBU a bit, okay, Samahang broke into Hollywood as well because he did a series called Martial Law. I don't know if you guys remember that series. And he became a director. He directed some of Jackie Chan's movies like Normal Mr. Nice Guy and all of those movies. So UNBU is, you could say, they're a trio, like the big three. UNBU, I think he just stayed more in Asia and did a lot of Asian movies. But what I'm trying to say is UNBU has done some of the most iconic films that we can think of. Like he was in Once Upon a Time in China too. He was the funny guy in Once Upon a Time in China too. And one thing we don't know or realize is he's a great martial artist. Like he's brilliant, but he even took some roles that you wouldn't even consider him to be like the star of one of the movies that he's probably done in the past, which is amazing because he allowed himself to also play supporting roles, which is
the comic relief.
And be the comic relief, yes. Which was brilliant.
I have a question. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you guys know a whole lot more about martial arts movies than me. But the guy who was in, you know, when they did the Bruce Lee biopic movie, the one that used to be on ETV like all the time.
Oh God, yes.
Jason Scott Lee.
Yeah.
Jason Scott Lee.
What happened to that guy? Because he was being pretty much positioned to be the next Hollywood star.
No,
what
the
happened?
thing is, it's the curse of it's the curse of when they tried to make another Bruce Lee. Like the thing is, what they want, because there's a bunch of guys after that. Like when Bruce Lee passed, there was a whole push to make somebody Bruce Lee that lasted for 30 years.
Including Jackie
Chan. And Donnie Yen. They also tried it with Donnie Yen. Because Donnie Yen also he was Kato. I like that movie though. That movie was pretty cool. But he was Kato and he was also doing the wah, but it didn't fit Donnie Yen until and like Donnie Yen was dope. He was doing great things. But I think when he became Ip Man, that's when he really solidified and put his stamp on like I'm this type of guy.
On a global.
Yes. Yeah, he was hot in Asia. He was hot in China. He was doing really well in China. But like coming back to that. Anytime anyone tries to be a Bruce Lee in anything, even if it's a biopic where they gotta do the Bruce Lee moves, like that character, if you're going to play somebody like Bruce Lee, it doesn't work in a biopic. He has to be in a small cameo. Like the only guy that kind of got away with it was the guy in Ip Man 3 because he's in like 3 scenes and he's good in those scenes, but it's just like we don't try and push this again.
And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, even though that scene was controversial.
All right, Mr. Extrodin, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is a movie called Reign of Assassins. I couldn't even tell that story if I tried, but it stars Michelle Yeoh, right? Let me try to give you guys a brief summary of what happens in that movie. Michelle Yeoh is married to some guy. This guy seems to be like an idiot. He doesn't seem to be able to fight to save his life, right? Then we find out that this guy actually, guys, this story is convoluted. This guy, it's a revenge movie. The husband actually wants to kill Michelle Yeoh because Michelle Yeoh killed, I think, his relatives or his wife or his parents, right? But all along he was pretending like he's this weak guy who cannot be saved by anybody. And Michelle Yeoh had the sword that could like bend, right? And I think Michelle Yeoh was also like a triple agent in the film. Dude, like that movie is crazy.
Textbook convoluted Chinese plot.
Look, trust me, guys. If you have time, please watch Reign of Assassins so that we can do a specific episode purely
Wow.
directed.
But what the hell?
Like you see that movie, ne? It was between that movie and Memoirs of a Geisha. I don't know if you guys have seen Memoirs of a Geisha.
Yeah.
Memoirs of a Geisha is also convoluted because the girl, we think she's blind, only to find out she's not blind. And the
Yeah.
husband, and you remember that the husband was also there, but we thought the husband was an enemy. It's kind of something similar to
Is that
that.
Memos of a Geisha or House of Flying Daggers?
No,
No,
wait,
Memos of a Geisha.
wait.
She starts
is that-
off as the girl who's cleaning
Okay,
the
I
geisha
haven't seen
house.
this one. I haven't
Because
seen
if
this
And
you're
that's also
talking about-
another martial arts movie. That's just
Yeah, because-
wait. I think
When
it's
she's
House of Flying
blind,
Daggers.
that's House
yeah,
of Flying Daggers.
That's House of Flying
Oh,
Daggers.
sorry, my mistake. I meant House of Flying Daggers. Because House of Flying Daggers is the girl from Rush Hour 2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
she's in
one.
all
Yes.
3 of those movies. Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Yes.
2. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I meant. That girl, like that. You see how convoluted House of Flying Daggers is?
It is. Oh God, it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's similar
Yeah.
to Reign of Assassins.
Okay, I
So,
think I've seen House of Flying Daggers once, but I don't remember it that well.
yeah. So Reign of Assassins. I think we should have a dedicated episode for that one.
Okay.
I think we'll be able to explain it a bit more if I watch it again and then we all talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Wait,
Who's next? Is it me?
I'm assuming it's me. Or do
Yeah.
I think you should
It's
go
Mr.
last.
It's
I just
Mr.
have a question. With our selection process, number one, just at least so the audience also knows. Now, when we're talking about martial arts movies, it can be from any region of the world. It doesn't have to necessarily be Chinese martial arts.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was kung fu movies, but I don't know. Tebello, you the steward of this shit.
I'm the moderator, so you know what? I think let's just give a pass.
Do you want specific? I mean, we can do kung fu if you want to do kung fu. I'm just asking because there's movies that I think are must have great martial arts, but they're not necessarily kung fu.
Okay, we'll get to that number one, and then we'll see. Because I'm curious to hear what this number one is. There's an action movie that's not from China. But the theme here is the kung fu movie. So let's.
You know
No,
what?
no.
I'll go with the first safe one because I
Okay.
think my picks are gonna be a lot more commercial than all of you guys. Also, I was very specific with what I watched. I'll go with the safe option first. I'll go with Kung Fu Hustle. I think Kung Fu Hustle is a safe option.
I wanted
Kung
to
Fu
mention
Hustle.
it as well.
I think Kung Fu Hustle. I think it's better than Shaolin Soccer. I think it's great. It's
I
a
agree.
great hero's journey,
I disagree.
bringing that back full circle. I think the techniques in it are crazy. I don't think it was basically
the god
Dragon
palm
Ball
from
Z.
the sky.
The palm from the sky, the toe
The frog.
technique. It's
Can I just say something about that? Some trivia. So, okay, obviously, Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle are directed by Stephen Chow and written by Stephen Chow. Stephen Chow was supposed to be in, what's this movie? The Green Hornet. But because of creative differences, he wasn't. Fine, that's fine. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Stephen Chow also got some of the legends from old martial arts films to be in Kung Fu Hustle. The parents and the main villain are Kung Fu legends, like martial artists, actor legends. And also, the main guy from the Evil X gang, the thin guy, he was also in Shaolin Soccer. And that guy was also considered to be Bruce Lee, by the way, to play a Bruce Lee role. I don't know if he did it or not, because he sort of kind of looks like Bruce Lee if you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie speaks for itself. I think it's very
lots of
iconic.
fun.
I think the X Gang thing. Everybody knows the X Gang.
Yeah, but,
Everybody-
we
That
all remember,
lady
we all
with the
remember
guitar.
the dancing sequence at the beginning.
Yeah.
and
But
like
also,
the palm technique, it's killer, man.
Also, that movie was the highest grossing martial arts
Yeah.
movie for a very long time in Asia, I think. I'm not sure if it was a martial arts movie or just a movie in general, the highest grossing, until some other love story beat it. Like
Yeah,
a couple of
because
years
once
ago.
again, you know what gets things right, especially when what translates from Asia to Western media quickly is actually more action comedies fly across the ocean better than just the hardcore action or quippy comedy. There's that sweet spot that really
And
just
it's also
flies.
super impressive to think that Stephen Chow directed the movie, wrote the movie, and starred in it. Like I don't like other action
You know,
stars are
ev-
amazing, but I don't think anything
everybody
really
would
does
would
does that
consider
well.
that the most conceited move in history, because how dare you make a story about yourself and put yourself as the title character?
Oh, then they're
But
gonna
it
hate
worked.
me.
But
They're
you see
gonna
the main
hate
Yeah.
difference. But you see the main difference between Stephen Chow movies and, let's say, the Fast and
Sylvester
Furious movies,
Stallone. Yeah.
Mm.
is that Stephen Chow is always the idiot in his movies. He's a nobody. He's the underdog. He's like, I mean, look at Kung Fu Hustle, no? The way they introduced him, it was way after like that whole first scene with the evil ex
Yes.
gang. He was just some guy who was getting slapped like
Oh,
doing
who?
something down.
No. He gets slapped around, and then he literally takes this poor kid's soccer ball and pops it.
Exactly. Because he wants to be in a gang. You know what I mean? That's how you introduce a main character in Stephen Chow movies. Even in Shaolin Soccer. It was just some loser who was like doing music at a bar or something, and
Mm.
his friends were all losers. Some of them were depressed. That's what makes his movies so fascinating.
Even that slum, like I've seen slums in so many movies, but that slum sticks out. Like
Exactly.
you're like, damn, like I remember it.
Mm.
Yeah.
No,
I
but
mean, they
yeah.
were all bathing outside.
Dude, and someone I think was taking a dump and stuff.
I
Like,
know.
yo, bro,
No.
Also, the way he learned the techniques in that movie, because he gets beat up so bad that his face looks like a cartoon, and then he ends up like I'm trying to remember the movie, but I haven't seen it in a while. But then he's like in a bowl or something, and then he
Oh,
starts
no.
swimming.
He got bitten by snakes.
oh yeah. And
Like,
I think
I'm just saying-
he was mummified, right?
He was basically turned into a caterpillar and then came out as a
Yeah,
butterfly.
and that's the end stage where he went up and interrupted that fight between the master and those two other warriors, the snake
And the
guy and
landlords were his parents, right? That's what we discovered, like as we were watching it at the end, towards the end, isn't
Were
it?
they his parents?
Really?
I think they were his parents. I stand to be corrected on that one, but that's the impression that I got.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I also
Anyway, my number 5, you're going back to the 1970s, is of course Secret Rivals, like I mentioned.
I don't know it.
Oh God, it's look, if you go to your dad or grandfather or uncle and just talk about if you just talk about that movie with the silver fox, you will see the eyes either hollow out or light up in awe, because that's where the trope of the old gray Kung master. Of course, there's the name they use a lot that they end up using in Kill Bill. What's his name? Pai Mei. Pai Mei is usually the common,
Oh yes,
the old
yes.
white-haired Kung Fu master.
Brush his beard like that.
But the character that was introduced to most of our dad's generation was Silver Fox, and it's a story about how it's called Secret Rivals because it's this one guy who's looking for a man who killed his parents, right? Very simple story. He goes into a new town, meets up with this guy who's also a powerful martial artist, and then they hate each other at the beginning because they really don't get along. Up until this girl that they like says, "Oh, look, you're practicing," and then they finally start working together. And then as they find out that the main bad guy is like he's got his own palace or something like that. Or there's always the main bad guy and his minions. So we find the main bad guy and his minions there, and he teases the bad guy to show him one of his ultimate moves so that he learns how to survive it later on. And we see this development of how do I defeat someone who traps both my arms. Then they're like, no, you must use your legs. You must start kicking in this technique. So they develop this type of kicking technique, and then ultimately they meet up against Silver Fox, and yeah, they survive the first ultimate move, but the guy has more. And he
Yes, sir.
almost kills the guy again, and that's when this rival turned friend comes to the rescue, and they start using tactics of you attack low, I'll take high, and it becomes this ultimate fight. And that's when also the trope of the most dramatic death scene. Why is it in all these old kung fu movies the bad guy, whenever he dies, it looks like he's getting a heart attack he's getting a heart attack on the floor?
I mean, to be fair, that's not like, remember that guy in Sarafina who started breakdancing after they shot him? I mean,
It's so easy.
No, not so easy.
No, there's this guy where
Crocodile.
everybody's running out of
That crocodile was so easy.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't him. Like,
Somizi was fire. Crocodile was Testa
In
Izo too.
okay.
no, but like, there's this scene in Sarafina, and like that movie was like so traumatizing as a kid. No, but there's this guy. He gets shot, and then he like falls down. He gets up. He does a headstand on his head, and then he falls right back down again. And then
Wait,
that's
what?
how he dies. I think it was Sarafina. I think.
Nah, you saw a meme. You saw like a
Yeah.
You
The
saw-
movie's
that
wild.
didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. It looked like it was a South African movie. That's all I can tell because it looked like they were wearing South African uniform.
I wanted to add on top of that now there was a second part where the Secret Rivals 2, where now the brother of Silver Fox, Gold Fox, finds out his brother's got killed and he's now hunting down the heroes. And
So Silver Fox is a villain.
he's a villain who ends up getting killed by these secret rivals who become friends. And in the end, the secret rivals now that are friends, one has to sacrifice his life because this technique that the Gold Fox has, it only works when he manages to get himself pinned down so that the other guy can finish Gold Fox off, and it ends with the one friend dying to save the other one. It's a very interesting circular storyline where it begins as rivals and they end up as friends.
Guys,
But it takes 2 movies.
I have a question. You know, you guys are probably gonna laugh at me because I genuinely thought for the longest time until I was in my probably late 20s or early 30s or mid 30s. I genuinely thought that the old actors are actually playing these old characters.
Same here. I want same here because some of these scenes you had to pause. Like, what's this?
I had no idea that it was makeup and it's just some young guy. I genuinely thought these guys are old and these beards are real and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for some movies, for some.
And the other thing I also thought it was like, for the longest time, I thought that's how China looks like today. Like these people are wearing these clothes.
Wow.
Even though there were movies like what's this? What cop? What the cop one with Police Story with Jackie Chan. You can see that it's modern, but because we were so used to seeing all those old ones,
you thought people were walking around like this.
exactly. But you see, that's why even Americans would think that we were staying with monkeys and whatever. It's because of the stuff they consume.
You just proved the trope. That's why.
Yeah. I get it now. I get it.
That reminds me of the first time I went overseas and we were in a class and then some girl was like, "Where are the huts?" And I was like, "You have Google Maps. Like, can we stop this?"
Enough.
No, and then someone even asked me, "How did you get here?" And I was like, "No, what I did is I climbed on a zebra and I ran through the wilderness and then I jumped on top of an eagle and then I had a spear and they told me I have to put my spear away because I can't take it to the plane. That's how I got to the plane. And I bought my clothes when I was here." Well, what do you think? Anyway.
Stupid as hell.
Anyway, number 4 for me, Drunken Master. Drunken Master, number 4. Strong number 4. I really like. Again, another movie where did this meme come from? Because in Drunken Master, that guy wanted problems. And when we get to number 3, again, you're going to see Jackie Chan was a man of problems. I don't understand where this thing of he doesn't want problems comes from. So I love the martial arts in that thing.
Was that your first Jackie movie, by the way?
No, I think my first Jackie movie was Tuxedo, actually, if I think about it. Yeah, I think
sense,
that was my first, and then I worked my way backwards or whatever. Because I love Tuxedo. Tuxedo was fun, even though like he technically gets the girl but doesn't get the girl at the end. It's like, man, just give him this. Why are you guys doing this? Anyway.
And it's actually one of the worst ones is filmography. Tuxedo.
Oh,
No, I hated Medallion. Medallion was the one that...
Medallion,
Medallion
okay.
was just-
Yeah, if I was to say top 5 worst movies, Tuxedo and Medallion are there for me.
Tuxedo was good.
I hate Medallion. I like Tuxedo. I agree.
But let's get to the look. if we can't think of Jackie Chan without thinking about Drunken Master.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about both ages of the Drunken Master movies. You've got the one where he's back in the good old days and he was trained by that old man.
That's the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one, and then there's the more recent one. Both of them, he was just hitting his stride.
Yeah,
And
like the choreography was on point.
On point.
I love the training sequences as well. And what's this? And like the thing is also but the other thing I realized is that like all of this was such performance because I was just like, there's no way you can fight like this. Like back in the day, I was thinking that's how people used to fight when they did kung fu. Like
Yes.
you have to pause and
Yes.
and it looks great on camera. It looks great
Yeah.
on camera, but I was just like, yo,
Yeah.
you would get destroyed if this was a real scenario. But
Yeah,
anyway,
which is why my father sort of departed from watching the kung fu movies because he said, like, if you look at the era of the Silver Fox and the Gold Fox, is that they were actually using moves. They were just slowed down. And the
Right.
way he proved it was that he actually did this to somebody and almost broke his leg.
Oh wow.
your dad practiced kung fu.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Self-taught. He made his own nunchucks and shurikens and everything.
He was really into this.
Yeah.
And then he
Karate
went
up
to
for
boxing
life.
after that. I was like,
But also I think what sort of broke this whole thing about of skill, learning how to do these. Remember Indiana Jones, the first one, guys, where this guy with the sword is coming and Indiana Jones just takes out his gun and let's shoot the guy and then he turns around.
that was
So I
saving
think
time.
yeah. Yes, I think it's like it broke that whole thing of whoa, this is amazing. What's gonna happen next? Thing.
Fun fact about that, because they were filming in the dirt and like people were tired and exhausted and like everybody was sweaty. Was this Harrison Ford just told the director, instead of a fight scene, why don't I just shoot him?
And everyone was like,
sense.
oh God, yes. Just do it.
Yeah, because Harrison Ford really sort of doesn't really give a crap. Even when you hear George Lucas speaking about how they used to, Harrison Ford was just not having it.
No, he was done.
Yeah.
So
But like, do you think in Drunken Master, like, why does that movie stick out more than the other Jackie movies? Because like you could argue the other movies, Jackie's stunt work is better,
Are better,
his comedy
are
is
better.
better.
Yes.
Like,
Even
why?
the
Why is
story
that?
is better.
I think for me personally, the reason is that I just think it was when you were starting to see Jackie come into his own.
yeah.
I think that that's the thing. It was the genesis of the guy
His
that we
career.
got in the movies a lot later, because you get to see his funny side. Also, he's playing more of an arrogant character, which is interesting in itself and all of that stuff. And then also you get to see how how he mixes in the comedy with the action, and like it all flows
It was his
together.
come to Jesus.
Yeah.
And also, I think he
That
created
the come to
Drunken
Jesus
Boxing.
was Snake in the Eagle's shadow.
Mm.
That's
That's the first movie that I saw. Like, well, seeing and understanding the storyline. That was the first movie that I saw. It was Snake in the Eagles.
And like I mentioned earlier, it's like I hate you. I hate the Snake Clan because they're the Snake Clan. There's no there's it's also there's no major thought in why is the evil person being an evil person.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, Drunken Master, at least there is a story. Didn't
Didn't that guy burn down something?
No. So what happened is that this guy wants a piece of land that is owned by Jackie's dad in the movie or whatever.
No, it's
I
not
think-
Jackie's dad. It's owned by a bunch of villagers.
Yeah, well,
And
it's
those
owned by a bunch of
villagers-
villagers.
Yeah,
that are
those villagers
protected
came
by
to
them.
Jackie's dad to say, okay, this man wants to buy our land. What's going on? And they're like, this guy wants your coal, and he's going to cheat you out of your money. So don't sell to him. And then the business owner basically hires an assassin to try and kill Jackie's dad.
Yeah.
And the crux of the matter is that he gets stopped before he kills the dad. Usually in these movies, it's like a revenge plot. Something bad has to happen.
Mm.
And then the hero is motivated to train and become stronger so that he can kick your ass. In this one, he basically was the problem that got humbled.
Yeah. Basically, Jackie's dad in the movie or whatever just says, "I'm sick and tired of you and these stupid things that you like
I
to
just
do.
own you. Go away.
Yeah, go. Here's the master's gonna sort you out." And they beat the hell out of Jackie Chan in that movie. Yeah.
Ah.
Wait,
No,
guys, I'm lost. What happened? His dad is the one that sent the assassin?
No.
no.
So remember, there's a guy who's trying to buy some coal from some people
Right,
that don't want to sell. And they come
right.
to the Jackie's dad in the movie and tell him, protect us, what. That Jackie's dad is a master. He's a kung fu master also. So he tells this guy that they're not going to sell to you, leave it alone. So that guy says
Right.
there are other ways to do this or whatever. And he goes and hires an assassin to kill the kung fu master, because if he kills the kung fu master, who's Jackie's dad, those people are likely to give up, because that's how things work in the kung fu world.
Apparently, yes.
Oh, guys, but that sounds like Duncan Master too. bro.
That's the first Dragon Master. Dragon Master 2 involves where Jackie discovers a treasure smuggling ring where they are taking away all the national treasures of China and they're selling it to the foreigners. And Jackie basically interrupts these guys. The first he interrupts them, and they make an example out of him by making him drink too much and kicking his ass. And then
Okay. Yeah.
later on, he decides, you know what? Let me try and stop these guys for good. And he goes into the factory.
Yes.
He beats them, but he gets his ass thoroughly smacked in the process.
Yeah.
And then, in an act of desperation, he literally drinks industrial alcohol.
I remember. No, because it's on my list. I think you saw that it's on my list.
Yeah, it's one of my best fight sequences. Okay, both the first and second one has my best fight sequence with Jackie Chan. The first one is when he gets in trouble and realizes he didn't learn from the final drunk god Miss Ho,
Oh, yeah.
because it's a girl and he doesn't want to learn this girly style. But then he finally realizes that he has to use Miss Ho and then he finally improvises a Miss Ho, and it's the most funniest fight sequence ever, because it's like, this move is called fart, old woman on toilet. And then she jumps, the guy moves away, old woman miss toilet seat.
By the way, I still to be corrected, but the villain in the first movie is the one that was actually the fight choreographer. I could be wrong, but I think.
And he was also the villain in Snake and Eagle's Shadow. In fact, you can even look at the cast.
Really?
It's like they copied and pasted the whole cast from Drunk Master and take them into Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. It's like,
But in Snake of the Eagle said it was an old man, right? So he was wearing makeup in that movie, wasn't it?
the main bad guy.
With the long nails and.
No, it was the same guy he just had a ponytail.
Hey man, saving the budget. Shout out to Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
Because there's this one character who's on there.
Kung Fu Master is the one who trained him, looking at exactly the same way.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly say shout out to Jackie Chan Adventures, because there's that one character, I think his name is Tiger, and the whole time he's like, Rabbit jumps on tail, Rabbit jumps the leg.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Snake in the Eagle is about the guy who had long nails, right? The villain.
I need to rewatch it.
It was
you with the nail.
It was.
All right, well that's my number.
He didn't have claws, but he was using eagle claw, which is surprising. And he was on a campaign to go hunt down every single person who uses the snake fist, because apparently eagle claw and snake fist can't coexist in the universe for some reason.
Yes.
And that's where the old man, who ironically is the old man from Dragon Master, he's the last master of the secret technique of the snake fist.
Right.
And he finds Jackie being basically the school bum who was being bullied left, right, and center by everyone at that school.
Yeah, because he was really struggling to learn.
Yes,
right?
and as this Kung Fu master is trying to survive, he gets himself injured. He gets stabbed by a priest.
Wow.
I have to rewatch this.
He gets stabbed.
I watched it when I was really young, so I don't remember. I just remember there was a part where I think he was walking by the bush and then he was just tired and then he started doing this. And then that's when it hit him that, oh, flip. Like, he needs to start doing that. Yeah.
And then there's the then of course Jackie then learns from watching a cat literally kill a snake in front of him. Oh, let's combine this snake fist with this cat's claw, and then
Yeah.
suddenly he's developed his own fighting style.
Mm.
Mm.
He turned Super Saiyan.
Mm.
So that's the story of Snake in the Eagles.
Yeah, that's my number 4. Mr. Extrodin,
We
what's
get to the second part of the Kung Fu, my second favorite part of the Jackie Chan versus Drunken Master in the second Drunken Master movie. That in that final fight, after he drank that industrial alcohol and he's fighting, and this guy's holding up his defenses, he stops the fight, walks away, punches down a table and smashes a pillar, and then he walks back and okay, let's go.
Yeah.
When the guy was so scared after that, like, oh God.
Yeah, because at that time, okay, this is basically my fault. It's Drunken Master 2. At that moment, Jackie Chan was so unpredictable that the main guy didn't really know what to do. Actually, there's two main bad guys in that movie,
There's
and they work together.
there was
Yeah.
there was a smart ass who at the time, the one the mother-in-law dissed, like, I saw you saying no less with that man, and with that kind of suit you need a head, and he slaps her.
Yes.
That
yes.
was that one, and then there was his boss, the guy with the glasses.
Yes.
I called him Eyes and Light.
Yes. So I think what I like, and that movie is hailed as it has one of the best fight choreographies, and it's such a dramatic movie because there's a part where his dad actually just disowns him.
Yeah, I disown you. You
Yeah.
are
Is it the
no
same
longer
continuity?
my son.
Is it
Get
the same
out!
continuity?
That's why I got confused when you guys were talking about Drunken Master 1 because it does sound like Drunken Master 2.
Both movies, their father disowns him. It's the most funniest
No, but I'm
thing.
saying, from what I remember, I don't think his dad in Drunken Master 2 is the Kung Fu master from Drunken Master.
No,
he's
it's
not
not the same.
Master.
It's not the same. It's not the same actor.
So they just took the same movie and retitled it and told more or less the same story, but they just did something else.
I guess the difference is he has a mom in this one.
Yeah.
The worst mom in history.
Dude, that lady, she's a troublemaker, bro. Like she's
The
a rebel.
biggest troublemaker I have.
The most spoiled troublemaker. And you know what? Funny enough, that lady, she was also in Rumble in the Bronx. You remember in Rumble in the Bronx, there was a lady that was in the store, like a store owner. Type of-
Oh.
Yeah, that's the same lady.
Wait.
But
Are
in
you
the-
talking about the one with the glasses?
Yeah. She
Oh.
plays Jackie Chan's mom in Drunken Master 2.
Hey, one. Wait, are you talking about
Oh.
she's the woman where they kind of have a thing going on but they don't kind of thing, and
Yes.
he's helping her with the store? That woman. Oh.
Yeah.
That woman. And she's a brilliant actress because if you look at those two characters, they're completely different.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, but Drunken Master 2 is one of the best movies in my opinion because his ally is this other guy who uses Charlie Fu and he uses drunken boxing. So there's a moment where I think they were just out in public and they were
In the
testing each other.
morning, when at the fish store.
Yes, when they were
I remember
fighting.
that scene. Yeah.
Ah man, and that fight choreography is so brilliant that Jackie Chan does something with the drunken boxing that even the crowd applauds him because of how it was the choreography, how great the choreography was. Because he started making a mockery out of the other guy, the Chinese
Yeah,
guy.
because the guy was using Dragon Fist, and it's like, okay, I'll try and use Dragon Fist a little bit, and
Yes.
then you can see at the moment he almost pins his neck, and like, oh, oops.
Mm.
And also, there's this other iconic scene where Jackie Chan uses like a bow staff against so many people, bro, like in a building, and
Oh, yeah, that's
he
where
decimates a lot of them.
When that old Imperial officer was trying to reclaim the seal,
Yes.
and it ended up, it was like one of the most biggest ambushes in the history of Kung Fu, because I've never seen so many bad guys in one building.
Yo, bro. And also, yeah, because he was trying to protect his father's friend, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a brilliant movie, guys. I highly recommend that you guys should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah. Phila, what's yours? What's your number 4? Yes, please.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm in awe. You guys are like very knowledgeable about kung fu movies, man. Like you guys,
No, I
What
think
else?
it's like
choices
old
are
school.
annoying.
What's your debate, my guy? We're waiting for your debate.
Oh no, my debate is done. I was a Star Wars debater. Now I'm here.
Yeah, because I knew.
I was never gonna debate about Chinese movies.
No, I was waiting for the debates in the Star Wars because I thought you're gonna tell me you low-key liked that episode, it's your favorite, and it fixed everything. I was like, we're on a
I
fight.
mean, I said it was the best episode they've made of this,
Yeah.
but we digress.
Yeah.
Number 4. Like I said, you guys are very knowledgeable. I'm giving you the best of the limited scope of the martial arts films I've seen. So number 4, I'll have to go Crouching Tiger.
Oh, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Okay.
I've never
That's not a bad. That's not a bad choice. That's not a
You
bad
should
choice.
watch
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna go
But that's
Crouching
the
Tiger,
movie-
Hidden Dragon.
That's the movie that put Michelle Yeoh on the global map.
No, and
Put
Chow
all
Yun-
3 of
and
them.
Chow Yun Fat and Chow Yun
Entire
Fat.
fan.
And
Yeah.
and Zhishan.
One of my favorite fight sequences that have inspired so many scenes. I think in my Instagram there's basically a scene where Lisiba fights against one of the twins, and I took that scene from the meeting between Li Mubai and the Jade Fox.
Mm.
That's
Oh, okay.
That's your
that
I need
you
to
know,
rewatch it though.
that moment is like, I'm Li Mubai, you killed my master 10 years ago, you poisoned him, and you'd expect like, oh wow, it's a revenge plot, and then she counters, which is like,
good enough to
yeah,
sleep with,
I
but
killed
not
him
to
because
teach.
your master
What
thought I was
better
good enough to sleep with,
punishment
but I wasn't
than
good
to
enough
die
to
by a
train.
woman's hand?
No.
And
Who's
now I
the main
get
character in that film? Who's the main character?
technically it's Chow Yun Fat.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's
But
like
very-
I think it's a 3-way. I think what
Yeah.
happens is that they
Oh.
kind of split it 3 ways because Chow Yun Fat is like the strongest, but I think his character dies in that movie, and then I think the other 2 it becomes a whole thing of
It's definitely
your
not
master was
Michelle
trying to
Yeoh's.
do this, and
It's definitely not Michelle Yeoh's movie. It's definitely between Chow Yun and Zhang, where she's like, I guess she's the antagonist. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You're right.
She's
Maybe
like
it's a
the,
3-way.
she's like the spoiled brat that has an identity crisis. I don't want to get married to this man I hate.
Who?
I-
Michelle Yeoh.
no,
not Michelle Yeoh.
the other girl.
The other girl
Oh,
who stole the
okay.
sword. She's the one who, like, okay, I mean, she's in love with this desert guy. She then she decides, you know what, I'm gonna run away from home. But then to run away from home, I'm gonna steal this magic sword that can cut through almost anything.
So
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh is trying to stop her from doing that. Or-
Michelle Yeoh was just trying to get the sword back
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
she sympathized with this girl's desire for freedom, and then when she found out that this guy is in love with her, who came back for her as well, it's like we get to see, oh, you know, all she wanted was just to get the sword back. You can go live your life. And then there was the Jade Fox, who was like the poison of the group, who was super jealous of the girl because she understood the Wudon techniques better than she did because she can't read. Plot
Sounds like
twist.
so a phone versus Yurichi type of situation, but okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
and let's not forget that fight between what's his name?
Chen Yao Fat?
No, not the Fett. Was you just mentioned it? Why did I wait? My ADHD brain sometimes.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh and the spoiled brat girl.
Yeah.
That fight where she's using all the different weapons in that store and it keeps failing over and over again. Up until she decides to use the super long sword. And she also, because of her compassion, she held herself back from killing her. Everybody thinks that the girl won the fight. No, she lost. She cut the sword in half, but she could have slit her throat. The only thing that held her back was the fact that this girl, she sees so much of herself in her. Someone who wants to do something, who's actually doing something for love. Unlike her, who's stuck in duty, she's in love with this man who's right there, but she won't do anything because she wants to honor the memory of her dead friend. Oh my God, I know this plot too well, do I?
Is this
No, I mean,
on your
you
list or not even?
It wasn't even on my list.
Yeah.
No, because like for me, this is like obviously it's the first Asian cinema I ever saw. I mean, I saw the trailer, the people flying around. Well,
And the
jump
flying.
goods basically.
Ah,
They're jumping
the
good.
flying.
Hey, did you guys play the video game by any chance?
Which one?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on
No.
It was on PlayStation 2. I managed to get like a copy of it. It was kind of fun, but it was a little bit weird because it did feel like you were flying. Like it felt like these people had superpowers.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is that Chow Yun Fat's character could like float the longest, and then Michelle's Yeoh character could float like the second longest, and then the girl could only float for like a couple of seconds.
What
It was
like early
kind of fun.
PlayStation 1?
No, it was on PlayStation 2. The graphics were all right. It wasn't like anything phenomenal, but like the combat was kind of fun. Unless it's just my nostalgia goggles, but I remember having a lot of fun. I might turn it on now or go look at it on YouTube and go like, shoo.
I know there's a sequel to Crouching Tiger. I never saw it. I think it was very much a Netflix product. I've never seen it. I don't know who's involved in it. Just the FYI. But Crouching Tiger, man.
I'm not gonna lie. My number 4 was Dragon Master too, so I'm glad everybody brought it up. So okay, because Dragon Master is it was like I'm going back from time, and it's still Dragon Master is my favorite Jackie Chan movie. It's my favorite, but I won't say it's like the only one I'd watch, and then I wouldn't care about the others. It's not like it's my favorite from a long list of favorite movies of Jackie Chan. If you were to send me on a desert island and give me all the Jackie Chan movies and say you're stuck, that's your only source of entertainment, I will be a very happy man.
For me, that's why I asked earlier on when you guys were asking about who's the best actor in terms. Like for me, in terms of acting, for me personally, Jackie Chan is number 1, bro. That dude, like guys, if you watch the emotional scenes in Dragon Master 2, or any moment where Jackie Chan is either having a conversation with another Asian person, even in Hollywood movies, and he's speaking his mother tongue, it's like the sincerity in those moments.
There's
It's
also,
so amazing.
I mean, we could see the guy has been acting for a very long time. I mean, there were even the cringy revenge storylines, like Fearless Hyenas, were one of them, where his grandfather died, and you can see this overdone but also emotive acting of him crying over his dead grandfather, realizing that it was his fault that his grandfather is dead, having to come to terms with that, having to come with the terms that you can't just run off after the bad guy right now. One, you're too strong. He's too strong for you. Two, who's going to bury your grandpa?
Right.
Those are the things that we never really think about in these revenge movies. That somebody has to.
I mean, with my guy, and we'll get into it. This is not on my list, but it's just like, maybe you can call it an honorable mention. But like I thought, like what's this? Bruce Lee's performance in Fist of Fury was really good as well. Like I thought he like the fact that you could like it's the one Bruce Lee movie where he kills everybody. and I think he did anger really well. And when you get to see him at his master's grave and he's like crying and trying to push and shove in front of everybody to get to his master's grave and cry, I was like, that was some really solid acting from Bruce Lee. I mean, it's not on my list right now. It would, if we were talking top 10s, Fist of Fury would be there. But it's like,
Speaking of,
isn't Fist of Fury the one that I was talking about, where he goes into a dojo and he?
Yeah. The infamous one way, was this? He like elbows that guy and then like and like beats up the master and then beats up everybody in the dojo and then leaves.
Yes. Good movie. Excellent storyline. Disney, take notes.
I need to watch it.
Anyway, okay, speaking of this, what are we at number 3 now?
Yes,
So
we're at number 3
what's your
right
number
now.
3?
My number 3 has got to be Rumble in the Bronx.
One of the best movies.
I've never watched it, and I deliberately told myself I don't want to look it up. I want to hear it from your perspective so you can sell it to me. So tell me about Rumble in the Bronx.
So, Rumble in the Bronx, again, it's basically that whole thing of a dude walks into a town and has to solve a problem.
Yeah.
So basically, Jackie Chan is visiting his uncle for some time. His uncle is getting married to one of the blackest women. I was just like, yo.
But there is that joke that when there's interracial relationships when white man or any other man of a certain race goes to the black woman, they go for the blackest.
No. They want that melanin in their gene pool. They want the strongest source of
That's
melanin.
chocolate, Baba.
They can't,
and like the
produce
thing
on a
is
yellow
that's
bone.
the
They
thing
want
that was
it
interesting
dark.
about that is that like you hear when like, and I'm not trying to incite anything, this is just stuff you hear and see also and all of that stuff. Like you hear how Asian people have issues with black people in certain places, certain areas, whatever. So I was like, I just thought it was hilarious to me that this thing is produced by one of the most Chinese companies with a Chinese action star, and his uncle is marrying the blackest woman ever. And I was just like, yo, I did not see that coming. I mean, they comment about it in the movie because they're just like, isn't she Chinese? Because the first person that Jackie meets is this Chinese lady, and he's trying to
Yes.
give her the present, and
Yes.
it's just like, and she's just confused as to what's going on. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're trying to do.
know?
And then this black woman comes out. I was just like, I don't remember that. And then basically some bikers come in, because you have to have the obligate. Like, what is with the police in these cities? Like, they always come after all the danger is finished. They are the worst police. Like, you know how we complain about JMPD? I feel like those people have it worse in the Rumble in the Bronx universe, because JMPD, at least they'll be there. Maybe they won't do anything, but at least they'll be there. These guys don't show up at all. So, long story short, some bikers start riding bikes over people's cars.
Wow.
Jackie Chan stops them from breaking up a particular car because it belongs to a friend's uncle, or his uncle's friend or whatever. And then these gang members make it their mission to find this one guy who ruined
The whole
one
movie.
race. The whole
movie.
yo, they look for this guy.
That's it.
Because they come at his uncle's supermarket. and
Well, it's
they
not his
trash-
uncle's supermarket. It's the lady because she bought it from the uncle most.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think they know each other. Jackie Chan knew the girl.
No, they don't know each other. It's just like they kind of get acquainted because Jackie Chan offers to. His name is
To
Kyung
help.
in the movie. His name is Kyung in the movie. Yeah, he offers to help in the supermarket and all of that stuff. And then like you get to see again, where is this thing? I'm looking for this compilation. I want to find I don't want no trouble. I want to look for this I don't want no trouble, because Jackie Chan wanted all the trouble in that movie.
Yeah.
If you remember, he walks into the room, takes their DJ set, smashes it on the table, tells this guy, fight me one-on-one, beats that guy up, beats his friends up to the point where the guy is like, okay, you win.
Right.
Like, and I was just like, when Jackie doesn't want no trouble, he's a problem. When he wants trouble.
There's a scene where he runs into an alley, right? And then it's basically a dead end. And these guys, instead of beating him up, you know what they do? They throw bottles. Like there's a wall behind him. There's a wall behind Jackie Chan. And all they do is they just throw bottles, missing him deliberately so that the broken bottles can land on his skin. And that was torture, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I think Jackie Chan looking for trouble is the same for me. Is the same danger level as Peter Parker when he stops making jokes.
No, I was just like, he beat y'all up when he was not even trying. Now he's here specifically on a mission to beat you up. Like that was fun to watch. And then the movie takes like a left turn where now there's a crime syndicate and there's diamonds and some of the worst actors that I've ever seen. Yo, there was this one guy.
The guy that was
crazy, man. I was like,
you know, one of the funniest scenes ever is, I don't know what to call that thing, whether it's a meat grinder or that thing that chops down trees. You know when you chop a tree and then you have to you put it. Is it a woodchuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. They put someone in there, like someone's friend. Let's say like two henchmen, from the biker gang. So one of them is put under that thing, and then the other one has to send a message like Jace after what.
Oh no! I think I know this.
You know the movie, and then the guy puts him in a rubbish bag. Yeah. He puts him in a rubbish bag and goes back to the guys and it's like, yo guys, Tom is in this thing, you know. I don't know, his name is not Tom, obviously. But I
Yeah,
found
and
it
then
nice
he
because
goes up.
we thought that was Van Damme, but it wasn't. But that guy, he was so funny though.
Oh my god! How many of
Yeah.
these movies have I watched? You know,
Let me mention a scene to make you realize that you remember this movie. There's a part where Jackie Chan is running around like at a park, like a car where a lot
Oh,
of
car
cars were
park, yeah, the car
car
park.
park. And then he takes like a that part of the car, it's like an antenna or something. I don't know what you call it.
yeah.
And then he whoops someone's butt with it, like one of the guys butt with it, and then jumps from one building to the next, like to a balcony. He jumps directly into a balcony. Yeah, which I think was
And then I like it where they're like, "What's with this guy?" And then it takes all the police. Then the police arrive after he's jumped, and I'm just like, "Did no one call anybody?" Like they're just running through this garage, tearing up people's cars. And there's also this crazy scene where they take the balloon truck. Remember that truck? And they push it off of the building onto the street, just to try and kill one man. I was like, yo, how are you guys this man over one race? Buffett.
It's the thing we learn about Jackie Chan movies is, especially in that era of Jackie
they
Chan
don't make
movies,
sense.
it
They don't make
it's
sense.
it's a situation combat, you using the environment to survive. I think it was the precursor to all parkour. I don't
Yeah.
know if he invented parkour or it was inspired by his movies. Somewhere along the line, something happened there. You don't see him having to learn some secret technique or anything like that. We already know that he can fight. We don't have to worry about any origin stories. I- it's
Yeah.
it's either I don't want to fight or I'm here to fight you, and
And some of them don't necessarily have happy endings. They just end.
and they just end.
Well, I mean, that one technically does have a happy ending,
Yeah,
but
that one
like the
does.
way Rumble in the Bronx cuts off, it is kind of like you guys just turned off the camera. Like there's so much resolution. What happened to the chick? What happened to the kid with the
Right.
cripple? What happened
Right.
to the lady of the grocery? Is Jackie gonna smash it all? Is
No.
But
he?
here's the thing, Buck, that maybe you can help me with. He had two love interests. There was the girl
Yeah.
who clothed him or whatever. Remember?
No,
After the whole bottle
so
thing.
there's the one is from the supermarket where she buys the store, and then like they hang out quite a bit, and then the other one is the sister to the brother in the wheelchair, and
Yes.
like she's in like she has like 1,000 jobs, she's hanging out with gangs, she's in the strip club, whatever, and then eventually because he goes and beats everybody up, she decides to quit. And like it was good usage of that character because the guy decides to fight one-on-one because he wants to try and impress this girl, and I'm just like, this is the wrong time, my guy, to try and do this because he beat your friends up when it was 4-on-1, and now he's here for you specifically. What do you think is going to happen?
All right, Mr. Extrodin, what's your number 3?
Number three, Dragon Tiger Gate. Dragon Tiger Gate came out, I think, in 2000 and maybe four.
Tiger Gate. Haven't heard of this.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually started being aware of this man called Donnie Yen. I didn't watch it in 2004. I think I watched it in 2008,
I won't lie.
9.
I won't lie. The only time I noticed Donnie Yang, up until I actually noticed Donnie Yang as Donnie Yang, was in Blade 2.
Oh, okay. So Dragon Tiger Gate is based on a manhwa. So we have manga, which is Japanese. We have manfra,
Manhwa.
which is French. Then we have manhwa, which is Chinese, I think. Yeah. So it's that. So it's basically a story about these two brothers. One is Donnie Yen, and then the other one is Nicholas Tse. Both of them are main characters. Nicholas Tse uses a leg, like a kick, like he mainly just uses his legs. Donnie Yen just mainly uses his arms, right? And then there's another character who uses just nunchucks. And basically, Donnie Yen is a bodyguard of a mafia lord. Nicholas Tse is just the typical good guy who's fighting against the mafia guy, and they come at odds with they're at odds with each other because this good guy and another good guy, but the good guy is protecting the mafia. And the fight choreography is amazing. and the villain in that movie wears a mask. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with King of Fighters games or Art of Fighting, but if you know Mr. Karate, you know those kind of masks, or Demon Slayer with the those kind
Okay.
of
Tengu masks.
yeah, but I don't think it had a long nose, but it's those kind of masks. Like, you
Yeah.
never see the villain's face in the entire movie. There's a big punching bag in that movie, man. That punching bag is actually in the Guinness World Book of Records because I think it was so big that I think it made a record or something like that,
Wow.
whatever. But it is, for me, it is one of the best movies ever because it shows okay, so in the manhwa, when you read the manhwa or the plot of the manhwa, then central character is the guy with the kicks, Nicholas Tse's character. Fun fact: Nicholas Tse is the son of the main villain in Shaolin Soccer.
Okay.
Okay.
Because the main villain in Shaolin Soccer is one of the best actors in martial arts movies, but he's always playing a good character. But for some reason in Shaolin Soccer he became a villain. You know those type of movies. So this guy is usually the good guy, but he's a bad guy. But anyway, to cut the long story short, so it basically focuses on Donnie Yen's character, how he goes from protecting a mafia to now becoming the older brother that he's supposed to be and saving the day. You know, but it's brilliant, man, because geez, they were trained by some master. The master also gets into trouble. I think he dies at a point, and now you find these three guys. The guy with the nunchucks, he has there's like key and everything in this movie, guys.
Okay.
Because when he does these nunchucks, there's sort of like a force field around him.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched it, but I'm seriously tempted to watch it. I think
I think I need to check that out.
Yeah.
all the movies that
you.
I haven't watched,
I promise you.
the way I'm describing it, I'm sold because I'm curious.
I promise.
I think
you.
I've heard
That
of
movie.
there's apparently
That
some
movie's
long
amazing.
sequence where Donnie Yen uses nunchucks in that movie for like a long. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's
Yes,
like
I
long
think closer to the end.
Yeah.
Closer to the end. Like, I think that movie, because Donnie Yen, I think, like, I started doing a lot of research about Donnie Yen. I think he's a mixed martial artist, right?
Yeah.
Before MMA was a thing, like he has so many, like he knows so many different martial art styles, and you see it in this movie because the way he was using his hands, guys.
They said, didn't they say it's like one of the fastest action movies of all time, like in terms of hand movement? It's one of those.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because how he defeats the villain at the end, it's like he keeps on pushing this guy. It's like they're falling off, but he keeps on beating him up, but he still keeps on pushing him. And like,
and it's in one take, right?
I don't know about that.
That's usually, I'm saying that's usually the MO. Like the thing with kung fu movies, I think, and I think it's something that Western media should adopt, and especially like South Africans, when we start doing our action movies and everything, it's also part of what made The Matrix so good, is that a lot of those scenes are one take and one shot. Like there's not a lot of choppy editing, and I think like
not to interrupt you, but you see the only case where you see that done right in Western media is in The Revenge of the Sith.
Jason Bourne as well.
Jason Bourne as well.
No, I think John Wick is doing it better than anything. John Wick, dude. Hey, have you guys seen John Wick Chapter 4?
I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen
You guys want to know what a good action movie is? Go watch it.
Guys, have you ever watched Equilibrium?
Equilibrium.
Yeah, I remember.
Kristen Bell.
I have, and I still regret it to this day. So it's like,
no, I've not seen Equilibrium.
But the fight choreography in that movie is amazing.
But if they didn't say the one line to make people want to watch it ever, because someone wrote "Forget the Matrix."
Yeah, forget the Matrix.
And
like, why? Why say that? Though? But to
When
cut the
you
long,
watch
like,
this movie, you're thinking, what?
Can we watch Dragon Tiger Gate and maybe do an episode about it, please, guys? Like, it's
okay. I'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll wait. I'll wait. I mean, I'll cut some time out and then I'll check it out.
All right. Then Phila, what's your number 3?
Okay, number 3 is Forbidden Kingdom, guys. I mean, you have to
Thank you. Someone put it. I was worried.
That was an honorable mention for me. It's just the main character sucks, but like,
It wasn't about the main character. I think if there's one movie, even the main character knew it wasn't about him.
It wasn't about him.
I think the only thing I was like puzzled by was why wasn't Jackie Chan Son Goku instead of Jet Li?
Okay, I have a confession to make.
Yes.
You're probably gonna kill me. I kind of put that as a joke. That would not be on my list.
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, I know you were.
Yes,
I
Phila.
was like,
How dare you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Because
mean,
it's one of the
remember
weakest-
when you were hyped, you were like, "Oh, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, one movie. Oh my gosh!" Then I went to go watch that movie, and I'm sorry.
The
it's a
plot
letdown.
is
It's a
appalling.
letdown.
The
It's a
plot is
letdown.
the action. Don't get me wrong.
It's a
You're right. The
letdown.
action is
no,
amazing.
no.
But-
There's two action scenes in that movie that are worth something,
Watching.
and it's Jet
Yeah.
Li versus Jackie Chan, and it's after that when they team up as the Monkey King and whatever to fight
Yeah.
whoever randomly they were fighting.
The
That
only reason why I mentioned it is because the hype was real. I don't know
no,
if people
that trailer,
Yeah.
when they were there. The
that
hype.
trailer,
Yeah.
like,
That
that's
was
the thing that
Avengers
made me
Endgame
mad.
hype.
That's the thing that made me mad. It was such a Hollywood thing to make this white generic dude the main character, and it was just like
Why?
you sold us on Jackie Chan
Mr.
versus.
Kala, I'm
Jet
sorry.
Li.
I
Yes.
didn't mean to disrespect your feelings. It
But-
was a joke
but-
pick.
You know what? It's a good pick because of that one fight sequence only. And I'm glad. The thing
Yeah.
is, someone said it and it wasn't in number one. I would have had a very big problem if it was someone's number one.
And also, there's two things that I want to say. One is they made sure to make they did well to make sure that they're evenly matched. They did that on purpose
Yeah.
because they knew people were gonna complain. Right.
Okay, but sorry, I know I don't want to make this thing 5 hours now. My real
Right.
number
Oh,
three
okay.
is Hero. I know it goes against everything we just talked about having long sequences in one take. Hero has cuts for days, but Hero's my number three.
Wait, is Hero the one where there's like a sequence where there's people defending a school from like a hail of arrows or something?
That's
Yes,
the one.
Hero's the one where it's in green, they're in red. they're in
I've never
yellow.
watched it. I need to watch it.
And Jet Li
Really
dies.
good.
I think Jet Li dies at the end or something.
Jet Li
doesn't
dies.
he?
It's the one where the hail of arrows comes
When,
from.
when the
Oh.
Emperor's like, execute.
Yeah. And the Emperor, you know what's so funny? The Emperor's like, kill him, but I'm willing, but he was a great man, and I'm going to
We
learn
shall
from
give
him.
him a hero's, we shall give him a hero's burial.
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those Chinese where you're like, really? Did you have to? Did you? But I mean, sorry, but just to summarize the movie, it's got a very convoluted plot, and I don't want to ruin it because you haven't watched it yet, but basically, the movie is told from four different perspectives.
Jeez.
And you're trying to figure out which one's actually real and which one's true. And there's amazing. Yeah, it is because there's
It's red.
it's red. Then I think is it yellow? No,
It's
I
red,
think it's red.
blue.
Then it's
I know blue is in there
then it's
somewhere.
green.
Red, blue, and white.
Red, blue, green. Green is very short,
Yeah,
Yeah.
green is just a
And-
flashback.
but that's still a perspective.
Okay.
And then there's the truth, which I think. Well, sorry, I don't
White.
want to say what the truth
truth
is.
was
You'll
white,
see for
yes.
yourself. And then, but there's amazing action sequences. Donnie Yen is in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Jet
And
Li,
you in that movie,
Andy
you-
Lau, underrated.
This is the movie where you start seeing Chinese patriotism.
Yeah, this was when Chinese people were getting their
Yeah.
cinema together, and they
The-
were like,
the-
"We are propaganda now."
Yes, it
This
was
is actually-
Chinese
Because the
propaganda.
quality was good, no?
This was
The
actually-
quality was really good as well.
Yeah, this was like close to when the fall of great Chinese cinema started happening. Because like now, when you look at
Yes.
China, it's super commercialized.
Yes.
But that was
Except for
the
Detective D. Shout out to Detective D.
facts.
I don't know if you guys have heard of Detective D. It's a random honorable mention.
Mention.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, Hero.
That was also the movie that made people believe that if you practice kung fu, you can start flying. Like
Yeah.
that was the movie where people were like, "Hey, did you see that guy when he was like?"
No. People were flying way before then.
No, I'm saying Hero was the one where I think a lot of people started latching onto that because I know after that, like me and my cousin, we want to be doing kung fu in the backyard and we'd be doing the.
Yeah,
Like the action. the action of that movie is great, but the reason why I'm putting it on my list is not even just for the action. Like, as a movie itself, it's one of the most beautiful movies you'll ever see in your life.
Well, it's Ang
It
Lee.
looks good. It looks
Isn't it
good.
an Ang Lee movie?
No, it's not.
No,
Ang
it's
Lee
not
did
Ang Lee.
Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, he did
Oh,
Crouching
okay, 'cause,
Tiger.
if there's one
Yeah.
thing Ang Lee's good for is cinematic.
It's the same guy who did House of Flying Daggers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, it's that guy.
He
But yeah.
improved. If or he got worse. It's one of it.
I think he got worse.
Because
He also did. He also did. Was it the? No,
Wait,
sorry,
you
that's
guys
someone
don't
else.
like-
Someone
you guys
did the
don't like House
Grandmaster.
of Flying Daggers?
No, I think the
think
thing
Hero's
is,
better.
Hero looks amazing just visually, and I think House of Flying Daggers, from what I remember, he didn't start doing those bright, vibrant color schemes.
Oh yeah.
From what I remember, I think the
It's a
movie's
bit
still
green.
solid, but like
Yeah, House of Flying Daggers still looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but in its own way. But Hero is like it's like piercingly beautiful. Like when you see the images, you
it's
can't get them out of your mind.
it's piercingly beautiful, haunting sets, big ass. You get to see pre-Han era China as at its worst, at its best.
Mm.
It was more. You could see that they really did step up the cultural references, because before then, all we knew about ancient Chinese movies is either people had a bob cut or they had a ponytail.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they
So-
were bald with a ponytail, which I was
Yeah.
just like, how did that work? But anyway,
And there's like, don't get me wrong, there's like a really good action sequence between Jet Li and Donnie Yen in that movie. It's very underrated, but like
Which one?
it's really good.
And
The sword fight.
yeah. I
Can
know
you
what you're
just
talking about.
Oh, yeah,
briefly
woo.
speak about that?
Woo, yeah.
Donnie Yen has fought Jackie Chan in Shanghai Nights
Yes.
and
Mm.
has also fought Jet Li in Once Upon a Time in China. Once Upon a Time in China too.
No, he's that guy. But
He's
yeah,
that guy. Those fight sequences. Donnie Young was the guy, the one with the spear, right?
yeah,
Once
Donnie
Upon a
Yen.
Time in China. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, you're right. It's a spear versus a sword.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
you're right.
that is one of my favorites. That fight where they're busy imagining things and they're busy playing the music. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling it. But the other fight's
okay.
happening.
But yeah, watch the movie.
Go watch that
It's
movie.
great.
All right, Mr. Kala.
Where was I? Oh, my
we are on
number three.
we're on number 3, Mr.
Yeah.
Kala.
The irony. My number 3 is called Once Upon a Time in China 3.
Is that the one where it was,
I didn't
there was
watch
a bit
that
of the
one, I
West?
don't think.
Oh, there's Once Upon a Time in China and America. That's not the one you're referring to, right?
That's not the one I'm referring to. One Upon a Time in China 3 is the song that used to be played in the one that used to be played in ETV until Death Do Us Part. It's the one where they replaced Jackie Chan with a new guy. Not
Yes.
Jet Li with a new guy.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
it's
remember
Wong
that.
Fei Hong. He's in the
Yes.
capital.
I remember that movie.
And you see the Red Lantern ladies.
I think there was a guy who was a translator, but he deliberately mistranslated the messages. So that they
No,
can-
that's not. It's not the same movie. That's a different one altogether.
Okay.
The Red Lantern Ladies was the theme was very simple. These foreign governments want to humiliate China by having this huge lion dance tournament,
Mm.
and they basically cheat because they've got these ridiculously oversized costumed animals like the American eagle, like the this multi-headed creatures and stuff like that, and they wanted to invite Wong Fei Hong, who was at that point the champion of the last lion dance competition, to take part in this tournament and save the day. And at the same time, religious, which is based on also historical alignments, because there was a whole lot of racial tensions between the foreigners who were living there and the locals. There's this whole part. It's called the Boxer Rebellion. Look it up. And one of the sects that was helping the rebellion kickstart were these women called the Red Lantern Ladies in the history books. In the movie, the Red Lantern Ladies are these ladies. They start singing this wonderful song, but at the same time, the lanterns are literally bombs.
I think I remember this one.
And they tried to destroy this foreigner's pharmacy. I mean, they even said like destroy kill our foreigners in our land. That's the theme, basically.
Didn't some lady get killed while she was running towards Wong Fei Hong or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
And
that
then
one.
Wong Fei-hung then goes to stop the violence by taking this guy's whip and, the most horrifying case of woman abuse I've ever seen in my life. He pummels them with a whip so badly they end up all on their knees, and then he tells the foreigners, "Okay, you can go now." And now they don't understand Chinese. Go, and then he literally forces them out. Run.
What happened to that actor? Because I think at a point he was starting to pick up a bit. It's not on your fate, is it?
It's not Chao Feng. I forgot his name completely because he was in Once Upon a Time in China 4 and 5.
They kept it going.
Yeah. What
You gotta milk that cow.
ridiculously funny is it was like the intro to the ridiculous acrobatics of the kung fu. The things that you're doing in midair, you're literally flying.
Because I started calling him Wong Fei-hung whenever I saw him in other movies.
Yeah, because that's all I remember.
I didn't know his other name. I just called him Wong Fei-hung.
But once upon a time, when did Jet Li exit the thing?
After 3.
Oh, so his character dies in 3 or something.
No, he leaves. The character continues. You see, they recasted him.
Oh. Anyway, sorry.
T'Challa.
Yeah.
So
I will never let this go. Anyway.
It also gives rise to that famous song, that kung fu song that everybody loves from Dragon Master, as well as Once Upon a Time in China. That na 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 na. That's the theme song of that movie.
Okay, all right.
That
So now it's back on me, right? Number 2. Number 2 for me is Ip Man. Ip Man 1, I think. That one was I need to rewatch it again, but I think that movie was fire. Yeah. Because like he's Kung Fu Superman. Like but like unlike Superman, he can't beat everybody in one shot, and he gets punched and things are difficult. But like he's always the guy that has to solve the problem. He has to save the town. He has to save the country. Yeah, I love Ip Man.
I think for me that's when Donnie Yen broke through.
Yeah.
Globally, yeah.
If I was to,
let's give. Donnie Yen doesn't get as much flowers as the big 3 like Jackie Chan and Jet Li and Bruce Lee even. But that man deserves his flowers. That guy is super talented.
No, he's new gen.
He's a hard
He's
worker.
the new gen.
I think nowadays I think he's kind of up there.
And it's weird because he's not necessarily new gen. He was active around the same time as Jackie Chan and Jet Li.
Yeah, but
I know. It's just weird how it works.
I'm just happy that he's finally getting the recognition. I mean, can you think about the many iconic characters in Rogue One, but look at his character.
Guys, please go watch John Wick 4. Donnie Yen is in John Wick 4. That's all I'm saying.
Yes,
please.
He is.
Because the other thing is that Donnie Yen is also a fantastic actor. Like outside of all the martial arts stuff.
That's what I wanted to highlight.
He's got like great range and emotion. Because Shanghai Nights, we believed he was a villain. Then you go to Rogue One, we believe he is this blind guy or whatever. Then you go to Ip Man, and like he masters this thing of being able, like he's that guy where he's disappointed in you and he's looking at you like, why are you doing this? But he's going to kick your ass all the same.
And it's crazy. Like in Ip Man, his facial expression, he sort of makes you feel like he's getting old. But when you see his other latest movies, you're like, no, this guy still looks fine. I don't know how he pulled it off. I don't know how he pulled it off.
His acting
but he
range.
made it work. Jeez.
He's one of those characters that can act, and he's a good actor. He didn't make it. He is in the movie that saved Star Wars for a reason.
That's true. But also, when they started doing the sequels and Mike Tyson is in it, and I'm like, what's going on?
I like those. I liked those. I still dug it.
But I feel like they're not historically accurate. I mean, maybe the first 2, I don't know.
No, none of it is accurate. In Ip Man 1, he beats up like a room of like 50 karate guys just to show the superiority. And remember, also
what's up with
Yeah, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
no, please go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, like, and remember also that he was doing this when he was hungry. Like, they didn't even feed him or whatever, or he was supposed to get something and they weren't giving him something, and then he was like, you have to beat up this room of 50 karate guys. Which, I mean, also those guys. After Donnie Yen put that guy down and hit him when he was on the ground, it's like it's time to give up. It's time to turn to your master and just be like, we
It's
out.
been a day. I'm ready to give up now.
Ew,
Now, you say you're. I feel like you're about to ask a very important question, Phila.
No, no, no. Don't worry. It was
Okay.
It was actually just. It was. The more I think about it now, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, because
Man, it's gonna bother me, bro. Just say it.
No, it was a very. It's gonna be a tangent. Don't worry. It's gonna be a
tangent away. We'll survive.
No, it's just like what's up with all these movies advertising themselves as the biopic of the master of Bruce Lee?
yeah.
Like I've literally seen like
Oh, that
10
is a very
movies
good
do
question.
that. And they're not even about the same person. And I'm
based
like,
on a
how
true
many
story.
masters does Bruce Lee have? It's like based on the true story
All
of
of them.
Bruce Master.
All of them.
Based on the
He
true
had.
story.
He was trained. He was trained by all the masters. He's the reincarnation.
You know what it's like?
He's
It's
the
like
avatar.
it's
Yes.
like all these people that have Bruce Lee stories and Tupac stories. It's like I
Yeah.
think some of y'all are lying. Like there's no way. There's no way.
There's no
There's no
way.
way all these things happen. All
Where's
these
your
things.
proof?
All of
No,
them.
well,
No
Ip
way.
Man is documented, so like that one.
Yeah.
It's just that it's like this. Like what they did is basically, if you guys watched RRR by any chance, have you watched that movie?
Oh no, no. The Indian one.
It's on Netflix. It's an Indian production. It's 3 hours, but it's a really good movie.
Is
My
Bruce Lee's master also there?
No, no,
no.
no, no, no.
My immersion broke in that movie hard, Chief. Because
Oh, when?
no, it didn't break. I just burst out laughing. I could never take this movie seriously ever again.
Triple
Was
R.
yeah, the moment
Oh.
where the tree fell down, the car crashed, the main bad guy flew up,
Oh.
mid-air, grabs the gun, grabs
I like that. I like that. I like that.
that. After that, I was like, you will never make fun of any kung fu movie ever again. But because it's one of those movies where my dad is like, "Oh no, this movie is awesome. I'm watching it." And then, when that happened, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, you make fun of me? And you and
No,
that
you guys, you have to see what he's talking about. Like to me, it was one of the coolest, most hilarious. It's
exactly.
also starring Ray Stevenson, so that was
Ironically,
also fun. That was also fun. But like in RRR, right? What's this? Basically, it's not to give you a quick synopsis or anything, because I've kind of lost my train of thought of where I was going with RRR. But like, oh no, I'm back. I'm back.
all right.
Basically, it was taking these historical guys and making them superheroes. Ip Man does the same thing. Basically, some of it may have happened, but the things that Ip Man is doing, you're just like he fought a room of 60 guys and beat them all with Wing Chun, and then walked off to be the Grand Master, and
Yeah.
that's what happened.
And they didn't come for revenge. Nothing happened. They just let him be. Come
One
on.
of these days, you're going to have a movie where Nelson Mandela is a superhero with powers. You'll see.
It's
That's
I would
coming.
coming.
love to.
Coming.
I actually Rainbow Comics Rainbow Nation Comics, they're actually working on a Nelson Mandela superhero story.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, well, they don't necessarily make it about Nelson Mandela, but it's like giving someone a name of a prominent person, but the character, the actual character's real name or birth name is not Nelson.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I don't mind. Remember when they used to make Abraham Lincoln a vampire hunter?
a vampire
Hey,
Detective.
So
let-
we're gonna get
you know,
we're gonna
whatever.
get Nelson. We're gonna get
So-
Nelson in like
okay,
Robin Island, and he's beating up all the prison guards.
Yeah.
I really should shut up because literally one of the stories I'm working on features the end of the Anglo-Boer War and how each of the warriors have got got basically they all got their own superpowers in the Union form a united army and kick the British out.
Oh, okay.
Rewrite history. Be like
Yeah.
Tarantino. Rewrite history.
Yeah.
just
Tarantino makes whatever he wants happen.
Yeah.
It's like he makes whoever he wants to make do whatever they're supposed to do. But yeah, okay. So we are on you, Mr. Khala, for number 2, right? Wait, did we get a number 2? Oh no, sorry. We're on Mr. Extrodin next. It was my number 2. Yeah, we're on Mr. Extrodin.
Okay, guys. Before I mention, what's the difference between Kung Fu and Tai Chi?
No, both of them are sects of Kung Fu. It's all Kung Fu. It's just different styles of Kung Fu.
Yes, Kung Fu is basically the umbrella, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, mine is Tai Chi, Twin Warriors. It starts Jet Li, and I forgot the guy's name, but this guy was also in Fist of Legend.
It was one of those few movies that they realized, oh, albino people can exist in Asia.
Oh, okay. And Michelle Yeoh is also in it.
I haven't watched this. I should probably check it
My
out.
goodness. For me, that's why it's number 2. It's one of the best movies ever. So it basically stars so these kids, I guess they're orphans. They grew up in the Shaolin Temple.
Yes.
And one is a bit Vegeta-ish in the sense that he acts now, thinks later. And one is more like, he's basically practicing the teachings that he's learning at the Shaolin Temple.
Yeah,
Being calm.
one is more aggressive in his learnings, and the other one is more passive in his learning. He's like,
Yes.
because
So Jet Li is the passive one.
yeah, he's the passive one. You'd think he has absolutely no talent whatsoever.
Right.
He's got a heart of gold. I mean, he sees his master meditating in the sun.
Yes.
He breaks down a branch to
give him some shade.
Give him some shade, and his master's like, "What have you done? I mean, now look at you. You've actually hurt the tree in an effort to try and make me feel better."
Yes.
And I didn't even ask you. It was one of those beautiful things.
So they had like some serious training thing that they had to do. Like it was a serious moment, like a big moment for both of them. And then the aggressive one, basically, he wins, but then he, instead of stopping, he continues to beat the opponent. And after this guy has been reprimanded a few times in the movie at this point. So the master gets tired, and Jet Li. So what happens is the other members try to stop this guy, and he fights them.
Yeah.
Then Jet Li comes in and tries to save his friend, right? So the master then sees both of them fighting, and then he banished them. They get banished, rather.
They got banished because the impulsive one actually took on the
master,
one of the masters, and he found out that he learned the master's secret technique.
Yes.
Because he saw it once while the master was practicing in the public, and then there's like expelled from the Shaolin order.
Yes, and then so basically we start learning. They just basically start living, like maneuvering, like how they're gonna live the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And to cut the long story short, the aggressive one joins an army.
Joins the army.
And which goes against their beliefs, basically. And this messes up Jet Li so much that he actually goes mad.
Oh no, he goes mad after he gets betrayed.
After fighting. Yes.
He gets betrayed by his best friend because
by his best friend, yes.
Yeah, he joins this group of people. They form a low-key rebellion because the government is taxing them to death.
Yes.
And then the guy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna help you guys. At this day, the governor is going to be in some other part of. He's gonna send most of the army there, so you can attack him, and then you can save the day."
Yes.
Turns out that he was betraying them all along.
All along, yeah. He was Aizen, basically.
Yeah. And that broke his friend.
Yeah. It broke Jet Li. Like, he genuinely lost his mind. He was crazy at a point throughout the movie. And then one day, I think he saw some 2 guys coming from somewhere. And then he sort of snapped out of it because he learned some secret technique through that. I don't just remember how.
I think it was, he found his master's old scroll because he's like, you'll need this.
Right.
And he was trying to learn because it wasn't so much about Kung Fu, it was about a state of mind.
Right.
And that finally it clicked when he saw those 2 people. Oh my God, I'm quoting this movie. Anyway, it clicked when he saw the man was carrying a whole pile of wood.
Yes.
Trying to go back home. And this man came to his friend and like, your wife is giving birth. And like, okay, I'm on my way. And like, guys, like, stop being selfish. You can't carry that wood and go see your son at the same time. You need to choose. And moment, that's when it clicked. Lord
But-
God, I know this movie's too much.
No, but this master, why you banish both of them then? Like you're gonna help
No,
this
both
guy.
men.
What? Oh,
No, but they were both, but they were
And-
fighting their brothers at the
no,
temple.
but like the homeboy jumped in because it was 20-on-1. Banish the guy who has the issue.
No, but still, he shouldn't have jumped in. That's the problem.
And he was banished by like the senior master or something like that. It
Yeah.
wasn't like his master in particular.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was like
okay.
the principal that says,
Like Captain
"Off you go."
Commander
Yeah.
type of thing. And then he starts learning this martial arts thing, and he goes to face his brother, and you could say he almost whitewashes this guy. Like he beats him so badly that I think the bad guy only got like 2 or 3 punches in,
Yeah, it was the most.
and and instead of actually accepting defeat, he kills himself.
No, he doesn't. What? You see, this ADHD memory. It works so well.
Okay, what happened?
Okay, so what happens is they capture the governor, the guy who's albino, and they was using him as a hostage to make the fight fair, 1v1.
Right.
And then as the things were getting along, and he was getting his ass handed to him, the bad guy realizes, okay, he's losing. So he orders his soldiers to go and attack, and then the governor says, "No, stay where you are."
Hmm.
Like if they had one hair of my head, I have if they had one hair, I'll make sure that they'll have your head.
Right. Right.
Then the guy kills the governor, so that he says,
Oh, yeah.
"Okay, I'm in charge now.
Right.
Listen to him and kill him." And then, like I said, then the woman says, "He just killed your leader. Wants to make sure that you're not next." And because he was such a terrible leader himself, like the training methods were almost extreme.
Right.
All his soldiers turned against him.
Yeah, and they became deadly students now. So the lady you're referring to, that's Michelle Yeoh.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
Because Michelle Yeoh was married in the
You're
movie.
right.
She was married, and then this guy started getting another woman, a younger woman, as a wife. Because there's a point where Michelle Yeoh and the other woman are fighting, which is
Yeah.
also a brilliant scene. But to cut the long story short, yeah. So Jet Li then starts training these guys using the methods, the training methods that he got after reading that scroll. That's basically Tai Chi. But it's a
It's a brilliant movie.
Also, sorry, I know this is not about your movie, but like, it's also what bugs me so much about Everything Everywhere at Once. Ugh! Movie is like, has the horrible action fight sequences, and they waste their talent. Wasted. You've got Michelle Yeoh, she won an Academy Award for it. But I mean, I guess she ticked the boxes for Hollywood. But I think
Didn't you talk
for
about
fans
that?
of hers, you watching it, you're like, what a waste.
We did. Yeah,
I haven't
you know what
seen
I've
it yet,
noticed?
actually.
What I've noticed about these Hollywood movies is they sort of water down the martial art abilities of these.
Yeah, the martial prowess.
The prowess, yes, of these actors. Because Paul Walker has to look great in the movie as well. He can't be just the Asian guy. Or Chris Tucker has to look good because you know what I'm saying?
No, well, I mean, Rush Hour
Bride.
did give Jackie Chan some dope action scenes.
No, they did.
Uma
but
Thurman
they
has
still-
to look great.
Exactly. But they've been doing that even in. I mean, if you remember Enter the Dragon, there was some white guy in that movie who.
No,
was
he
an
doesn't
ally.
do well at all. Enter the Dragon?
No, but what I'm trying to say, I'm not talking about the villain. I'm talking about the ally. That
No,
white-
I'm talking about the ally specifically. I'm saying
His
that
ass
he doesn't,
whooped.
that he doesn't do anything really of significance.
significance,
The only thing he does is survive. Like the
Yeah.
one that got killed was Robert Kelly. That sucked. But like I'm
That
just
did suck.
saying,
Yeah.
the only guy
No, but-
go ahead.
My point is, it's like they're trying to balance this whole thing that you can't only be they can't be the only Asian hero here. We need to sort of like bring in our own people, whether it's a white guy or some black dude or whatever. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. Phila, what's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2. So this is where I'm breaking the rules. Like I said, I'm breaking the rules.
Yeah, now we've
Martial
got
arts.
yeah.
But
go on.
here's but I'm breaking the rules twice. So this is 4x because my number 1 and number 2 are basically the same movie. in a way.
John Wick.
I'll say some honorable mentions before I say.
Okay.
So, the movie we're talking about with Jet Li, what I thought it was Legend. It's actually called Fearless. My bad.
Oh,
Fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another honorable mention, Ong Bak. Where's my elephant?
Oh,
That's Where's my elephant has to be an honorable mention. But here's my number one and number two are drum roll. The Raid Redemption and Raid 2. I'm sorry, guys. I know when you guys are talking about, it has to be I'm sorry. I
Okay.
cannot talk about martial arts movies
I've
without
never watched
saying
that.
The Raid and
the
Raid
raid
Redemption
is fire.
is fire.
The
It
raid
a
is
10 out of
fire.
10.
I can't
It is a
even be
10.
mad at that. Like,
That is-
especially like Raid 2 is story-wise goes off the rails and
A little.
yeah. Now.
No, I like Raid 2 because it's basically Departed. But
No, but I'm just saying, like Raid 2, like it goes off the rails a little bit. Like the story loses focus.
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
martial arts is top tier.
Who stars in it?
Tony Jaa.
Oh, coach.
Tony Jaa.
Wait, what happens in the raid one? Please
Okay, so in
First
the raid
raid
one,
is they're
go ahead.
infiltrating a building that is basically settlements, but it is a front for like a gang drug
Yeah.
cartel, let's say that. And basically a squad of, you call them like a SWAT team, are basically going inside so they can extract the drug lord who's the king. But then things go wrong because there's corruption at play and they get locked inside, and basically it's a battle for survival. I don't want to give away the plot because not knowing what's going to happen
Is the best part of this?
ride.
Yeah.
Wait.
So-
Wait.
It's
Does-
on Netflix. You can watch it.
Does
The Raid
does Tony
and the
Jaa does Tony Jaa have a friend who has blonde hair? A fat guy.
No, there's no.
No.
I mean, maybe
Okay.
you're thinking of The Night of Us, which is also a really good movie.
Maybe.
Because that's
Okay.
he's also in it. But just watch The Raid. Like The Raid, I'm not gonna talk about the story, so at least you can immerse in it. But in terms of action sequences, long takes, it's the best thing you'll ever see. Choreography, everybody's a hella skilled martial artist. I love Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen does great things. But Tony Jaa is the guy. Tony Jaa is, and this is the thing that annoys me because I always have to tie it back to Star Wars. They have a cameo in The Force Awakens, and then they get killed by Han Solo. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever
Of all the
seen
characters.
in my life.
Tony Jaa.
In my
Tony
life.
Jaa was in Force Awakens.
So
Yes.
you know,
They're
when
busy talking the different language thing.
you know when they're going to try and save,
And Han Solo was busy trying to
Yeah.
negotiate with two people.
and he's like, and then they're like, Han Solo, you owe money, and then he's like, no.
Yeah.
Then they end up, and then they die, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. Sorry,
The Force
watch that movie and go watch
Awakens has so many letdowns.
Yo, Star Wars billion people down. But like, dude, Raid 1 is like, it all happens in one place. And then Raid 2 expands the story and expands the world building. You're right, the story does get a little bit, but we're not here for that.
Yeah.
They deliver everything. And it's a good like thing because you don't know who's good, you don't know who's bad. It's quite tight. And
Well, I
like,
mean, no, Tony Jaa's character is clearly a good guy. I just think that there's like a lot of people in the mix that are doing things and whatever. I think even in one scene, there's like a family living in this tenement building.
Yeah.
They're having all of this violence go down. And I'm just like, also this SWAT team, I'm like, none of y'all came with guns? Everybody just came to fight with hands.
everybody, that's my favorite part though, because all the logic drops. They're just like, you know what, we are cops and we are SWAT team, but we don't believe in guns, bro. Like when you watch this movie, it's so ridiculous, but it works. Like, please go watch The Raid. Like anyone wants, and honestly, I say this unapologetically. This is the greatest martial arts movie of all time. Both of them, 1 and 2. I don't care what you guys have on your list. I don't care. Once upon a time in what?
This is the guy.
What
This is the
The
debate
Raid?
now.
This
is the
is where the
debate show.
fight happens.
This is the fight.
You-
It's
you
shot
hold
better than
back
your
until the
movies.
side.
The choreography is better than your movies. The stunts are better than your movies. This is Now go ahead and talk about
You have dishonored my master. And you have dishonored my style.
In the race, we have no we kill our
now
masters,
battle.
you know?
We must now battle to the death, good sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad there's a departure from it because my number 2 was also going to be kind of a departure. Okay, it's not just kind of, it's a huge departure. But it does fall under a martial arts movie because the overall master of this group is an Asian guy, and he was teaching them ancient techniques, and he was fighting against a very evil. Yeah.
When you said departure, I thought you were gonna say The Matrix.
No.
Because I mean, technically, I was like, I guess.
I guess, but my departure is more. It's closer there. It's funny enough. It's closer than you think, but it's actually a couple of generations back, because it was a cinematic bomb. It did terrible, but like wow, when you watch it again as a kid, it's like wow, this movie actually slaps, and it was Warriors of Virtue. God, I love Warriors of Virtue.
Warriors of Virtue?
Yes.
The rabbits?
Yeah, the rabbit people
rabbit
with
man?
the tails.
Yes.
Random people.
Yes, the villain there made me laugh so many times. Do you know how many catchphrases I've learned from that man?
That's your number 2.
The guy with the eyeliner where they were doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
Yes.
And,
That's my number 2.
What the hell, dude?
A bit of a left.
Okay, Peter, you have been recused from your blasphemy. This is what?
This is more serious, man.
How many?
Comrades.
Think of that 5v5 final fight and how many catchphrases you can catch from that.
You.
I don't know that.
Did they not do a partnership with Wimpy back in the day where if you got a Wimpy meal, you got a Quiz of Virtue? Like
I
from
have no idea. I've never
two.
watched it in the cinema.
Oh, wait a minute. Guys, wait. This movie that you're talking about, are these things from another planet or something? It's kind of like
something like that, yeah.
Something
But
like
then
that. I mean,
the original
yeah, they have a
Isekai.
sword.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
The
And there was
original
reason-
Isekai.
hold the sword like
I think they
this.
were created by a woman, though, right?
Yeah.
This thing. I needed to watch that movie. I never saw it. It's called what?
Where's the
Warriors
virtue?
of Virtue.
I need to watch it, bro. I need to watch
That's
it. Is
my
it
number
good?
2.
Is it good?
There's
Okay,
a guy
so-
that.
Because it's on your list, please explain why.
Yeah, please,
It beats the
actually.
other movies on your list, please.
Well, like I said, fast attention grabbing action sequences. A villain who has so many catchphrases that you can look. There's Palpatine takes all that cake in all the catchphrases that you can think of, and then there's this guy who says some of the most amusing and some of the most dumbest lines ever, and because of that, you'll never forget what he says. I mean, there's literally a scene in that movie where he says, "Do not think thoughts," and everyone in the I was like, what?
So, is it CGI? Are these characters CGI or is it puppets? Like,
No,
Like
it's
Teenage Mutant
straight
Ninja
rubber.
Turtles.
It's straight rubber, straight practical effects.
oh my goodness.
I remember all the dialogue. I mean, outside anxiety exists. When there's anxiety, there's error. Where there's error, there's opportunity. Like that. Do not think thoughts.
Yo,
No, Tebello, you have to revoke your beef with Vegeta. If
I think-
dialogue is
I
saving you
never-
with this movie,
I
you
think-
have to revoke your thing with
are
Vegeta.
you forbidden kingdoming us right now? Like, is that what you're doing?
Your list has been so solid up until this point. I was
Yes.
like, Warriors of Virtue.
Exactly. For that very reaction. That's why I wanted it to be
I
number
looked
2.
at the trailer and it was like of earth, wind, fire,
What?
metal. I was like, hey, what? They're pulling all the elements.
The trailers. I had to. There's a bootleg disc somewhere, tape somewhere in my closet.
You got a tape. I'm done.
It was so good it had to be bootleg.
Yeah, please.
But I don't think it would
I'm
be
sure.
on
I'm
the
sure. I'm
list.
sure. I'm sure the whole movie is on YouTube. I'll probably find
Did
it on
you,
YouTube.
Most
did
likely.
you watch the sequel? Here's the sequel. They pretend that none of this stuff ever happened.
They entered the entire movie.
What do you mean? It's a reboot?
No, it's the same characters, but like
the
the
same
rabbits
story.
don't exist, the magic doesn't exist.
Okay.
I was like, yo.
And that's why it's for pure entertainment value. That's why it's my number 2. There's a whole lot of kung fu. The old man kicks ass. He beats the main villain with a blade of grass. How zen is that?
But you see, this is why Hollywood was just in a mess at a point in the 90s
No,
and late 80s.
No, technically, what happened with Warriors of Virtue, because I was watching a podcast on this thing, China sent this to America, I think, because it was supposed to be like a collaboration, because there was a time when they were trying to make this huge collaboration where they were exchanging movies. That's why something like, what was that movie with Matt Damon, The Great Wall? Or whatever, where Matt Damon was there. That's why
Let's
stuff
talk
like
about
that.
the Great War for a second.
Yeah,
Why is it that the people in that movie hate women?
No, why is it in that movie that none of these guys have killed any of these lizards by themselves and they've been fighting these things for I don't know how long? Like, they were like, how did you do it? It's like, oh, I don't know. He didn't Attack on Titan swan dive into a group of them.
Well,
That's the
by
one
the
thing,
way,
like,
we
okay,
have
you've
to-
been given a spear. Why are you jumping off to spear them from your wall?
It
What
looked
kind
dope.
of military strategy is that?
By the way, that was a good tangent. Guys, we need to talk about Attack on Titan before the last episode drops. Just saying.
I'm not
Something.
going to spoil anything. Like I told you, I read the manga and I made a vow on air that I said. Remember, I told you that.
When is it dropping? Because I need to watch Attack on Titan from the beginning. When is it dropping?
Drops in October. It drops in October. So you've got
Can they
half a
stop
month.
doing these part twos? Okay,
Half
we
a
get
month
it.
to watch the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's
You've
your-
got a month
okay.
to watch the whole show.
Okay,
Wish me luck.
we
Yeah.
know your number 1, Phila. So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is Enter the Dragon. I love that movie.
Classic.
I love that movie. I love that movie. Especially if we're talking like the kung fu martial arts stuff and just like Jeet Kune Do and everything. I love that movie. I love it. I love the quotable lines. Boards don't hit back. That is so dope. I love that line where O'Hara is punching a black belt. O'Hara is punching boards and things, and he's trying to intimidate Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee is literally like, boards don't hit back. I love that. I love that line. And then
The black guy had to die.
I hated that. That sucked. But at least he also went out like a G, and he had a great line. You come straight out of a comic strip.
Also, we're avenging sisters, not brothers.
You know?
It's a nice change.
Yeah. And also, it was kind of a solid story in a sense, because it was, we need your help to get this dictator out. We can't find him the conventional way, so we need you to enter this martial arts tournament to get him out. It was like a nice use of that trope and getting the martial arts master in without having an extensive background and everything. And also, like, Bruce Lee, even though the movie, like most of it is about punching and kicking, he does show like a pretty decent range as an actor in that movie, because he's able to be a concerned big brother. He's able to be this guy who likes rage and everything. And then he's also able to be like a Zen master in a sense and everything. And I also loved...
We got the legend.
the legendary, those scars and everything. And I also just liked the choreography in that as well, because like he was starting to do fancy stuff as well, but he was also keeping it very practical. He was like,
let's be honest, that's when the girl started fangirling over Bruce Lee.
and then also there's that dope opening sequence where he's fighting that guy, and then you see him do that whole spring froggy thing where he's dodging him and all of that stuff. And then also when he wins the fight, because that's when you also started seeing him use a lot of the mixed martial arts stuff in his fighting as well. And then he like front flips over those guys and everything. And then you even get that whole, I think it's in this movie where to be tense, but the true martial artist is not tense, but they're ready and all of that stuff. And we need emotional content and everything.
Isn't that also if you focus on the moon, then you will miss all the heavenly glory?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also that was the one where he said, eyes on your opponent at all times. It's like, even when you bow, because the other kid bows and he's just like, Pa!
Oh, that's in the beginning. Yeah. Like I wanted to know, like, is this the first movie ever where a main character is in a room full of mirrors and he doesn't know where the villain is? Because I feel like all other
You're
movies
right.
copied this moment.
I think it's
right?
the first one. I think it's
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so.
It
The
is.
whole of
You're
mirror
right.
trope.
Yeah, the whole of
You're
mirrors
right.
thing.
You're right.
And
We've seen
it
it
was
like
so epic.
100 times after that.
Yeah, and
Mm.
because
Nice
it was
find.
that good.
It's iconic. Look, for me, the villain was not strong at all. He just left the floor. But wow, man, that
But
movie has so many great
that's how you
things.
see that that movie was carried by Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I think-
also a scene
And
where. Mhm. No,
it's one
speak,
of those
please.
few Asian movies where it's plot centric, not villain centric.
Yeah.
And also one of the best nunchuck sequence, like actually weapon transition sequences, because he like switches through like a bunch of weapons, and then he goes to the nunchucks, and it was like one of the best usages of the nunchucks that I had ever seen. And it was almost just like as soon as he grabs the nunchucks, guys, just give up.
Fun
It's
fact: nunchucks if I'm not mistaken, nunchucks are of Vietnam or Korean origin. Fascinating.
Oh,
fine.
but I think to be honest, Bruce Lee was ahead of his time, guys.
Yeah,
For being honest.
look, Bruce Lee. Without Bruce Lee, we wouldn't have the discussion you're having today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That-
true.
Like I remember after that movie, I was just walking around the house. Whoa!
without
Also, we wouldn't have had Van Damme doing the if it wasn't
Yeah.
for Bruce Lee.
Well, we wouldn't have the Van Dams, we wouldn't have the Chuck Norris, we wouldn't have Mortal Kombat, we wouldn't have Street Fighter, we wouldn't have
Probably even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wouldn't have
No.
existed.
probably.
Yeah.
And I
Because
mean,
Mikey is basically Enter the Dragon.
And I think Bruce Lee, if I'm not mistaken, for that movie was very much the head person for creative. I think he was the one who
Yes.
pushed the movie. He tried to push the story. He pushed where they were going to shoot. And I think what he said was he wanted to create a James Bond-esque film franchise for himself. Unfortunately, he never got to fulfill that dream. But at least he started, yeah.
It's we could say that it's his magnum opus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Because
Definitely it was.
if you think of a Bruce Lee movie, the first thing that comes to your mind is Enter the Dragon. Even when people don't know what Enter the Dragon is about. I mean, they may be quoting some other movie, but they always think Enter the Dragon.
How
Also,
many
like
movies
I
did
think martial
Bruce Lee
laws
do?
moveset from Tekken. Martial laws moveset from Tekken, I think, is solely based on
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Because that
Even his
backflip
look.
kick,
Even his look.
yeah,
Like
because
his
that
look.
backflip kick that
Yeah.
comes from.
I also forgot to
Enter the
add
Dragon.
Tekken to that list.
Mm.
Bruce Lee brought it to our generation.
Mm.
I mean,
I
sure,
did
there
mention
were,
Tekken earlier on, but yeah.
sure, there were a few kung fu movies back then that our fathers grew up on, like I was quoting the Silver Fox and the Gold Fox and everything like that. But Bruce Lee was the one that brought it home. It's the thing that brought fathers and sons together into a single
Yeah,
film. Because
100%.
there's always the generational gap that doesn't make sense, because like, oh, you kids, you like this thing and you like these things. So in the thing that brought generations together in the Western media, and people might pull their hair out for this, but it's still true. In Western media, the thing that brought fathers and sons together was Star Wars.
Yes.
In Eastern media, it was Bruce Lee. So in my mind, Bruce Lee has just as much of an impact as George Lucas. You can come at me, I don't care, but I'm just gonna call it what it is.
No, there's so much. How many people have been like the very fact that became a stereotype, the very fact that war became a stereotype.
You know?
Yeah, if he was
That's
alive
Bruce Lee.
today, he'd be a billionaire. Just from
he would.
merch, just from
From
deals.
merch sales,
Just from that sound effect, like
from that
how
sound
many
effects,
people
how many
use that?
royalties?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Enter the Dragon for me.
All
Like,
right.
if we were talking martial arts movies of all times, I don't know where Raid would be. It would definitely be in the upper echelon and upper tier. But but Enter the Dragon was just that was just revolutionary for me. And like the thing is, what surprised me is that it was an old movie. Like I had been into all of these modern movies at the time, but something about Enter the Dragon still managed to capture me.
And it made me wonder how old Bolo Young was, because it was in the 70s and Bolo Young was in his prime, and Van Damme saw Bolo Young in Enter the Dragon and got him into Double Impact and Bloodsport. They're like, and he still looked fine. And I'm like, how old was this guy?
Mm.
Anyway,
But
so
anyway.
what's your number one?
My number one, guys, is Fist of Legend by Jet
Oh.
Li. That's my favorite movie of all time for me. It stands out as number one. I know it's a retelling of Fist of Fury. I've never watched Fist of Fury, but one of the reasons it was between that and Bodyguard from Beijing, but I feel like Fist of Legend is a stronger contender because this man marries a Japanese woman, which Chinese and Japanese, there was beef at the time. And he sacrificed everything that he stood for at that point before meeting this woman, because he was okay. Their master died, right? The master that taught him martial arts died. His best friend was the same guy from Tai Chi. He was the son of the master. But Jet Li's character, I think, was meant to inherit the dojo because he was slightly better than the son, because the son, I think, was a drunkard or something. Like, he didn't take the death very well. So there's this iconic scene where they're both fighting because this guy is like, dude, what are you doing? Marrying this woman and whatever. And Jet Li is trying to fight for the honor of this lady. And, oh man, it's an iconic scene because initially Jet Li didn't want to fight this guy because you're my brother, bro. Like, we grew up together. We're raised by your dad. I'm basically your brother, you know? And there's a part where the guy beats Jet Li and the wife is looking. You know that moment where your partner,
Betrayed.
your partner sort of like is not impressed, but she doesn't. It's not like she doesn't look. She's scared or whatever. And your ego sort of like just kicks in. You're like, I'm not gonna get beaten in front of my wife. And then he starts doing the kick thing, where he's doing this, like the Muhammad Ali thing, basically.
Yes.
Bro. His switch is just like that, bro. His switch is just like that. He starts beating the guy and humiliating him in his own dojo, in front of his own students, in front of his own family, right? And I think the villain was some Japanese military guy, tall guy.
I think I've
That
seen
guy,
this.
yo, that guy was tall, bro.
There's a sequence where people are doing pull-ups, ne? Or something.
I don't remember, but basically how it starts is Jet Li, some guys from a dojo come in. I think they were in class or something. I don't remember, but they come in and then Jet Li breaks their legs and
Wow.
and their
Oh,
arms.
that's how I think I've seen this because that step that he does before he starts beating that guy, that's a Bruce Lee thing that Bruce Lee used to do all the time in his movies before he would start beating up people. Because he would do this and then he would start stepping like that and then he would just it's game over.
Yes.
So when the master comes in, he just starts like fixing everybody's hands and and funny enough, the master that I'm talking about is the father of the wife.
Oh, good.
So there's a moment where Jet Li, like, he's trying to find a house with this lady. They go to motels, but they are kicked out because she's a Japanese woman. So he builds a hut somewhere. He finds a hut somewhere.
Oh, I think I've
And then
seen
that's where the father comes in to visit his daughter, but then he fights with Jet Li. That's the only fight that Jet Li lost.
Yes, and then I think he blindfolds him, or there's like a blindfold or something.
Yes, they were fighting blindfold. Yeah, you know the movie. You watched it. Yeah. Look, that movie, guys. Please watch it. It's
I need to rewatch it. I need to rewatch it.
Guys, there's a
I need to
moment.
watch it.
Just to be specific, there's a moment, guys, where they're like, you either leave the dojo. You either leave this woman, or we no longer recognize you as a member of this dojo, bro. He goes in front of the seal, and I think the master was there, and then he bows his head, I think, like 4 times to say, "I'm done. Forget me being in part of this, just for this woman, bro." So I think that's why I like it the most, because the love he had for that woman.
It's basically a love story with fighting.
Yes. Yes.
No,
It's
the
done with
Fist
that
of
movie
Fury
one
is
time.
pure revenge.
Yeah.
Fist of Fury, OG Fist of Fury, because I had never seen Bruce Lee murder that many people in a movie before.
Right. Right.
A legit murder. And that's the other
No, you've really sold me. Yeah, I want to check it out. Both
Please
of them.
watch it.
the
Please
things
watch
you
it.
learn about Asian movies is that murder is a very common denominator. I don't know what's happening in in this day and age where you're forced to really consider the morality of killing killing the bad guy, or killing the minion, or killing whatever. Back in Kung Fu movies, shame.
Because I mean, he even beat up an accountant. There was that one guy with glasses, and Bruce Lee was like, "I was looking for you specifically."
You know,
And
fuck
then
you in particular.
he like charges up his fist. He's like, "Ah!" and caves that dude's chest in, and then hangs him from a building. Bruce Lee was brutal
Was
in
brutal.
Fist in the Fury. Anyway, Mr. Phila, you okay?
I
Great.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did my one and two.
Oh, then
And
it's me.
by the way, wait before you say your number one. Both your choices commendable, great. I still think my movies are better than yours, but you know,
Guys,
not
please
not
let us
everybody
know
can
in the
win,
comments.
you know?
Please let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Is Raid
Yeah.
as good as Fist of Legend, and as good as, what did you say?
Into the
I
Dragon.
said Enter the
Enter the
Dragon. I said
Dragon.
Enter the Dragon.
And please comment down below. Please just speak the truth. You know what it is. You know it's Please.
No,
I'm not
Okay.
suggesting.
I've never seen
My
a poli-
movie,
I'm just
my
saying.
movie inspired.
this is a
Okay,
political
that's all I'm saying.
movie. Anyway, as I was saying in the beginning, we are all sharing our opinions about our favorite kung fu movies. And see if it was I didn't call it a competition or anything, but here we are. Let me tell you about my number one. Before I tell you what it is, I want to tell you what that movie did to me. Okay.
Okay. After Warriors of Virtue, I'm very interested.
This movie traumatized me in all the wrong ways. If there's one thing I love about it, I live for is closure. I hate when something ends on a cliffhanger and then I never find out what happens. And it's a common thing you find in many kung fu movies.
Yes, that's true.
Unfortunately.
But bruh, the big boss, how it ends, the guy gets arrested. You're like, what? Bruce Lee gets arrested.
Now-
that was a painful one. That was a painful one to watch.
We can go on and on. That this movies where it seemed like there was supposed to be a sequel that never happened.
Right.
And now then there was this one movie that was particularly good that never had a sequel. And it scarred me for decades up until I had to go into the deep interwebs to find out the original source material to figure out what happens so that I can finally have
Wow.
peace. Because I thought, if I am going to die, I would rather die knowing how this story ends. I
That
cannot
means it's a
just
good.
You had your
That
own
means
kung
it's
fu
a, that means it's a good.
Changed
That's a
your
good.
life.
That's,
You had your
that's a
own
good
kung
movie.
fu movie, my guy.
That's a good movie. It's a good movie.
This movie has dishonored me. I
Yeah.
must find the ending of this movie.
And that's the funny thing. It's a late. I'm sure it's like early 90s kung fu movie. It's right there. It's at the height of the wire rope flying trope. And the movie's name it's a Jet Li movie. It's called The Evil Cult. Everyone who's seen The Evil Cult knows how it ends and how it hurts.
What happens in the evil cult?
Oh God! It starts off as you think it starts off with a typical revenge plot because it explains that it takes place in a world where there are two basic kung fu sects. Oh no, let me step a bit further. In this world, there are two magic swords. And whoever commands these two swords becomes the king of the martial arts world. One is called Starcatcher, and then the other one is called I forgot its name now. Now out of all this after all this epic speech, I forgot its name. Dragon something. I forgot its Dragon Catcher. Okay, or Dragon something. So after a while, these two swords were sought after by all men of martial artists, and it eventually boiled down to two different sects. One was led by Shaolin, and then the other one was known as the Evil Clan or the Ming sect. The Shaolin groups were basically six schools. It was Shaolin, Omei, Kunlun, Wudong, Washan, and I forgot the other one. There's a sixth one. So those are the six schools of the martial artists, and then the Evil Clan was the other one. That one clan was led by four legendary warriors. There was a fifth master who died, but the fourth one was, and they had the most simplest names. They didn't even bother you with these hard names that it was like the Purple Dragon, White Eagle, Gold Lion, and Green Bat. And now it shows this whole fight sequence between these two clans that they were fighting, and they weren't allowed to fraternize with each other. If you fraternized with each other, you'd end up getting killed as punishment. And one of the leaders of the Wudong schools, Chen Chu-sang, he decides, screw these ridiculous rules. I'm gonna fall in love with the daughter of the Gold King.
Good Lord, of course.
And he has a son named Moke. Gold King had the dragon catcher. Or dragon sword, the big ass sword. And what happens is when you have these powerful swords, you become a target for everyone. And one of these villains ends up killing his family, except for the daughter, and then blinding Gold Lion. And Gold Lion, in his fury, goes on a rampage and kills a whole lot of warriors from the sixth. Seeing what he's done, they take the blind man and they sail off into this called Fire and Ice Island. They live in exile. Up until Chen Chu-sang's master, Chen Sang-fong, decides, okay, he's going to celebrate his 100th birthday. By the way, Chen Sang-fong is like one of the legendary Kung Fu legends. He's known as one of the immortals. He's known to be, technically, he's not known to have died. So he just achieves enlightenment. Nobody knows where he is. So I'm just talking that's normal history. Back to the movie. So Chen Chu-sang decides, okay, I'm going to go see my master for his 100th birthday. And since he's the only one who knows where Gold Lion is with his sword, everybody's coming after him. That whole backstory is just the intro to the movie.
Sounds like it. Sounds like an epilogue.
Now we get to the movie where Chen Chu-sang is with his young son, Chen Moke, who's the hero of the story. He grows up to be the Jet Li of the story. And he's near Wudong Mountain. But then they get attacked by these two warriors called the Jinxes, who end up poisoning Moke with this Jinx palm, which is slowly killing him. And that's where you also meet the Grand Master of the Wudong, Chen Sang-fong, who he's an old fat man. Obviously, it looked attractive for someone like me growing up being fat, being like, he's so fat, but he's also so powerful. And he kicks their asses. There's a whole lot of fight sequences, and then, oh goodness, I can go on. And then the six schools come, they force the Chen Chu-sang to commit suicide, and you think, okay, it's a revenge plot. So Moke is gonna grow up and try and have this revenge plot. Plot twist, something else intervenes. Then Moke has to become the voice of reason because he realizes that there's a third enemy out there who's trying to manipulate the Ming clan and the six schools to slaughtering each other so that they can take over, which would be, ironically, the Chinese government itself.
Sounds like Lord of the Rings type of convoluted plot.
And on top of that, as the mother was dying, he warns Moke, like, Moke, don't trust women. The prettier they are, the more deadly.
Yeah, damn. Why did she do that? I thought she was going to do the whole Bruce Wayne, don't be afraid, don't seek revenge.
That's why she tells them, son, look at all these people. Remember all their faces, know all their names. And kill himself.
Wow, okay.
And then she tricks them into saying, okay, I'll tell the guy in Shaolin, the guy, this is where Gold Lion is. She lies, obviously. Now the other warriors are thinking that the Shaolin warrior knows the truth, but he's pretending not to know. So they start fighting there, and she walks up to my son, like, Mom, no, don't worry, son, I tricked him. See what Lion can do? Listen, son. The prettier they are, the more deadly.
Wow.
She gives him a high and kills herself. That's the last
Sounds like
message she tells the boy.
I need to watch it. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's those movies you're not supposed to go and to the loo or go get water
No.
from the fridge.
Then, of
Otherwise, you'll
course,
miss a lot.
he grows up under Wudong. He's too weak to learn Kung Fu. He learns that, okay, the thing that could have saved him from being poisoned was this old Shaolin monk who fell off the mountain fighting Chen Sheng Feng because he learned the Sun style, which would have made him one of the most powerful Kung Fu masters. But the only reason he wasn't so powerful is that he wasn't, quote unquote, a virgin when he learned the technique. Make sense of that, if you will. Look, I can explain this whole movie until the end. I could do it right now, but we have past 3 hours, and I'm gonna tell you, with all that, it ends with a cliffhanger because they meet this dangerous woman. She messes things up. She like lives up to the warning that she gave Mokeo, don't trust women.
How long is this movie?
It's about 2 hours, like an hour.
Yeah, that's long for a kung fu movie.
Bona! And in the same time, there's an epic battle right there in the middle. And when I'm talking about a battle, not like two warriors, kung fu warriors. I mean, two armies clashing in the middle of a battlefield, using all the amount of techniques, explosions.
That's gotta be weird. Like, you guys just run into each other and then everybody has to pause and make space so that they can.
Then you can see that the main clan, though they had the numbers, the Shaolin warriors have the skill. Then they slowly started beating the main clan guys. You see that. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of action. You see Jet Li. You see Jet Li after learning the Sun style also learns another technique. He becomes the most overpowered character, and then he gets tricked by this woman. He falls in love with another woman, and then it ends with a cliffhanger of just this woman saying, "Come and get me!" Ha 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 ha. Basically, and I was like, "Is that it?" What? So
After 2 hours. This is it.
No, that's Gennady Tartakovsky and that baby episode where we were just like, you cannot do this to us.
You cannot.
Where is our move?
And now,
where's the guardian? Where's the kid?
At least with Samurai Jack, we got some closure. I had to go and do research. I had to look it up. I had to go and search the underworld of the martial arts world so that I can find out what happened so I can sleep at night. Because every time I see that movie, there's so many funny scenes, there's so many catchphrases, there's so many things, and then it ends with, "Come get me." Whee! And she's flying away Kung Fu style in the air. Moke, you have one thing you owe me, and your other masters, if you want to see them, then come get me. Ha ha ha. Title credits. I was like, no.
So what happens then?
Oh, do you want me to spoil it for you? Or do you want to watch it, then I spoil it for you?
I don't know. Maybe okay, how do you gents feel?
Let's check out the movie first.
I wanna watch.
I'll wait.
Well, they even end up teaching Moke Tai Chi at the last minute. It was so funny. It's like, eventually, look, there are satisfactory moments. Like he eventually manages to beat the people that poisoned him in the first place. So you do get to see that. You do get to see him overcome abuse. You do get to see that there's this one character, this bitch of a woman. She's such a flaky bitch. I hate her so much. She's like, "Oh, Moke, I'm scared. These people will peep at me when I'm bathing." And then she's playing a prank on him. And then when he finds out the Moke is now more powerful, she's like, "I'm sorry I did this before. Please don't. I'm sorry I did this back in the past." And then it's like Moke forgives her. And then she stabs him in the back again. Every time I saw that woman, I wanted someone to kick her in the face. Oh God! And nothing happens to her. Anyway.
It sounds like the teacher of Sakura, but anyway.
You know who it sounds like? You know who it sounds like to me? Irritating character and keeps on appearing. You remember the ghost girl in Harry Potter, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, Merkel.
Oh, Merkel. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I
Guys,
couldn't stand her, bro. I couldn't
I
stand her.
literally have the movie on my laptop right now. If we meet, we can watch the movie together. I want to see your reactions, and I also want to see your level of frustrations that because wow, that movie scarred me, and it has, like I said, ridiculous flying. There's a scene where one of
Why
the
is it your number one? Like, Enter the Dragon at least made me feel kind of cool that they beat the dictator. And the
because
raid, they
the
win
reason
at
why
the
it's
end.
my number
So,
one is that there's no movie that has literally forced me to go deep dive into the internet to find closure.
okay, I
I,
guess.
If,
I have
if,
I have a lot of those, but I do get what you mean though. If a
of the
movie does
Kung
that
Fu
to you,
movies, it's the
Yeah.
one that said, you know what, I can't die without finding out what happens.
I get you.
So that's why it's my number one, because other movies I could find, like I could move on. It's one of those like, oh yay, okay. Oh, not satisfactory. Oh, the bad guys win. He gets shot by the imperial government. Yeah, it's
like
LIV.
guys,
That one.
who am I? Jackie Chan never finds out who he is in that movie.
Yeah, they
It's
just
one of
said
the movies that bothered
Mm,
me.
they just,
it's
they
Like,
true.
who
just said
are
here's the
you?
file.
That's true, man. There's so many endings we need to know.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Even for
now,
me, I still go back to Toby, original Toby Spider-Man. Did Mary Jane and him actually
Yeah,
figure it
what
come
out?
happened?
together.
Did they
Yeah,
figure it
Well,
out? We don't
apparently they
know.
were going to open 4 with them being separated because, and I secretly said, you know what, good, because MJ in that continuity is horrible. But like, yeah, that's
Actually,
how
can we? I mean, we should actually talk about that. MJ was a horrible girlfriend from the
Oof.
first Spider-Man all the way to the third one. She was bad, bro.
well,
She was bad.
I mean,
I
Yeah,
granted, in the third
it is.
one, Spider-Man was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing, but like, yeah.
No,
but
but she was
he,
whack. She was whack from day
but she,
one.
but he brought it on herself. I mean, really. Oh, you're gonna listen to your best friend who you know your boyfriend is Spider-Man, by the way, and now you see your best friend
Oh,
come and threaten you, and
I love that. I love that scene when he's holding her by the neck. You're gonna break up with Peter Parker. He's like, didn't he sort you out? Didn't he kick your ass
you
and
know,
beat your
I'll be
dad
the first one to say
and beat the the octopus man?
Ish. But anyway,
the guys,
sorry, that's a tangent.
and
Guys,
Tangent.
thank you so much. I've learned
oh
a
yeah, yeah,
lot
guys.
about martial arts films. I'm not gonna lie, I think I was the least experienced, but like I'm gonna rewatch this and I'll make a list. And you
Yeah,
guys have improved my watch list.
like I told you, we have to meet. You have to watch. You have to watch the Evil Cult, because I I can't suffer alone. Because then I'll know, once you've seen that, and sure, you might not have a same visceral reaction as I am because it hurt me in my formative years. At least I have the ability to give you guys closure, and that's catharsis for me. That's all I can say.
I'm definitely down, and I'm gonna probably also rewatch the raid and everything,
Yeah, I'm
even
gonna
though
watch.
it's
I'm
one
gonna
of
watch. I'm gonna watch the raid. Yeah, but
Look,
please,
look,
guys,
I've
Dragon
got a
Tiger
long list of
Gate.
things I have to watch, and this is definitely on the top of the list
Yeah,
because I'm
and,
most interested.
and all the smart people, when you're watching this, please comment below. You know what the right answer is, ne? I appreciate it.
we were having a moment, we were bonding, and you just had to kick the trash
No, jokes
out the
aside.
dog.
No, I love you guys. You guys are great. I learned so
He,
much.
you woke up and you chose violence. Oh my God, it's midnight.
I
Okay,
want
guys.
problems.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for lasting this long. I'm gonna make it 2 parts again because it seems to be working a little better. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for lasting till the end. Thanks for watching everybody here have a heart attack at my Warriors of Virtues rant.
That needs
And
to be a clip. And you
Yeah.
need to actually show
Yeah.
clips of Warriors of Virtue so people can
yes,
see what you were talking
I
about.
want to put the clip about do not think thoughts. Like, if you cannot find the most cringiest, quippiest mega villain that you can find in those movies.
Guys, you don't understand. Phila, Extrodin, I don't think you guys understand
No,
when he's
I
talking about
remember
Warriors
them.
of Virtue.
I know
the
that.
movie, but I remember them.
I remember them because I remember the toys and I was interested in them and I
Yeah,
had no idea, but they looked cool. But I didn't know they were this
watch
campy
the
and creepy.
movie. Watch the movie. You'll see what I'm talking about.
No.
And you see why is like he's
Anyway.
my favorite. He's an awesome. the thing that made him number 2 is that he's a villain that's worth remembering. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your views, guys. Guys, we like 200 views in 1 week. That's like wow. 250 views. I was like, wow, guys. That's so yeah. This herpes thing is working. So keep spreading the disease.
I take offense to being referred to as a disease, but okay.
No, I'm talking about how viral we are. We are that addictive. We are that
all right.
addictive that even when the doctors say no, don't kiss each other, you're gonna kiss each other. So yes, spread the message. And once again, see you guys next week. I think next week is going to be what?
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
See you next week.
because there's so much.
Peace.